You like spy movies, Mr. DeVere?
Nowadays, they're a little too serious for my taste, but the old ones, marvelous. Give me a far-fetched theatrical plot any day.
The old Bond movies. Oh man, when I was a kid, that was my dream job, gentleman spy.
I always felt the old Bond films were only as good as a villain. As a child, I rather fancied a future as a colourful megalomaniac.
What a shame we both had to grow up.
Since 1849, Kingsman tailors have clothed the world's most powerful individuals. By 1919, a great number of them had lost their heirs to World War I. That meant a lot of money going uninherited, and a lot of powerful men with a desire to preserve peace and protect life. Our founders realised that they could channel that wealth and influence for the greater good, and so began our other venture, an independent, international intelligence agency operating at the highest level of discretion, above the politics and bureaucracy that undermine the integrity of government-run spy organisations. The suit is a modern gentleman's armour, and the Kingsman agents are the new knights.
Gary Eggsy Unwin, whose late father secretly worked for a spy organization, lives in a South London housing estate and seems headed for a life behind bars. However, dapper agent Harry Hart recognizes potential in the youth and recruits him to be a trainee in the Secret Service. Meanwhile, villainous Richmond Valentine launches a diabolical plan to solve the problem of climate change via a worldwide killing spree. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode, we'll be covering 2014's Kingsman, The Secret Service, directed by Matthew Vaughn.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. We're here doing a feature presentation of Kingsman, The Secret Service, directed by Matthew Vaughn. I'm here with my main man, Colin. Colin, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
I am swell, man. Like, this was my pick. Dude, you haven't seen this before. What the fuck?
Yeah, never. I think I might have. No, it's just wrapping up my time at the theater, I think, when this came out.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, no, I was definitely still working at the movies. Well, actually, no, I had stopped working at the movies itself, but I was working at the head office, like in the actual sort of main office shit. And I definitely remember like using my free tickets for this. I was just like, oh, that looks fun. Let's go check it out. But anyway, look, before we get into our opening thoughts and before we go into the actual movie itself, guys, this is a feature presentation episode. So we will be going through Kingsman sequentially. We'll be talking shit about it. We'll be laughing about it. We'll be making jokes, blah, blah. But in order to do that, we will be spoiling it. And also, if you haven't realized already, we'll be swearing. As Colin likes to say, there is an R on this motherfucker for a reason.
Except it's an E.
Oh!
Now, see, that's when you roll with the cultural shift, and you're like, yeah, in our country, E sound like I's.
Yeah, actually, everyone just misheard me and my accent, probably, right? Like that's. I'm just gonna let that roll there.
Actually, it's quite culturally disrespectful to correct us on our language.
Actually, our E's look like R's, so yeah.
That's exactly how the oil wear started in fucking Mad Max. Somebody corrected some grammar.
Exactly. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're not already, please follow us on our socials. We have our main page on Facebook, which is Midnight Double Feature, and then from there, we have our linked Facebook group, which is called The After Party, which is great, where we post memes, news, and teasers of what's to come here on Midnight Double Feature. Also, that's where our community chimes in. That's where we get all of our, faithful followers and listeners talking about the latest news that's breaking. So, yeah, be sure to chime in on there. And also we're on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. And you can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. As I like to say, we're like a disease. You can't get rid of us. We're like HIV, to compare us to fucking something. We're venereal, is what I like to say. But anyway, probably the most important thing, please remember to rate and review us on iTunes. Cannot stress that enough. That would be very helpful. It gives us a little insight as to what to do, what to improve, how we get better. And overall, it only takes you guys like 5 seconds to do, and it means the world to us. So really, if you guys could do that, that would be outstanding. But other than that, Colin, what did you think of Kingsman: The Secret Service? I am dying to know your thoughts, because this is a very, very unique film, if I had to put it down to something.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different. It's like not a bad different. There's I don't know. It sucks because I feel like we were on this streak for a long time of like you picking shit that I hadn't seen and me being just like, oh, this is awesome, and it was like Prisoners and Rush, and then I'd seen Whiplash before. We were throwing out all these great picks and stuff.
Son of a bitch! I know where this is going.
And this is one of the first ones where it's like I don't dislike this movie. I goddamn do not see what all the hype was about. I really don't. I think this is a perfect example of something that's I don't know. I feel like if this thing screamed of like Edgar Wright the whole time to me. This screamed of a really good soundtrack, fantastic editing. Especially all the pub shit when they're fighting, that felt just like World's End. So that stuff I really enjoyed. I really loved it. But I think that this is like one of the most overhyped movies I've heard about in the last few years. It's just, oh man, Kingsman, great, so good, blah blah. And I was thinking, okay, well maybe it's a little bit more than just a basic action movie. I'm not giving it its fair shake. This isn't going to be like fucking, oh god, what is that? Hobbs and Shaw. Oh god, if I see one more fucking ad for Hobbs and Shaw while I'm on Facebook, I'm going to Paul Walker both of them. I swear to fucking God, dude. Like, if I'm
wait, you're going to put him in a high-powered Porsche and crash him into a tree?
Yeah, whatever it takes. I guess, I guess The Rock, you'd have to put him in like a Hummer, shoot him towards the sun, because he's not going to fucking fit in one of those. But no,
you have to nuke him from orbit, dude.
Dude, well, I stay on YouTube a lot, and I've actually gotten sucked into like. Have you ever watched any of BuzzFeed's like true crime shit that they do? They have a show that they do. They're absolutely insane. They're so great, and so I've gotten really sucked into them lately, and I've been listening to them at work, and I mean, it's YouTube has upped their ad game, like 2 ads per video, and literally 2 of them back to back were Hobbs and Shaw. And if I hear Idris Elba go, "I'm Black Superman," one more time, one more fucking time, dude, like Jesus Christ. But so I know that this is going to be a little bit better than a movie like that. You got Colin Firth, you got Michael Caine. I think this is kind of Taron Egerton's like break, isn't it? I don't really remember seeing him in anything like globally like this before. I'm sure he acted, but I don't know. I feel like this is kind of like, I guess you could say this is kind of like Tom Hardy's like Mad Max, like the big movie that just like, okay, now you are a one of the biggest actors working right now. So
Tom Hardy had, before that he had Bane.
Oh yeah, that's true. Never mind. Yeah, I guess Bane is one. I keep thinking that Mad Max came out after Rises for some reason. I don't know why.
3 years later.
Oh yeah. Well, this movie, I enjoy it. There's nothing. Here's the thing: is just because someone has overhyped a movie for me or blown it out of proportion does not mean it's still a bad movie. I think that it's just because something gets overhyped, people automatically lump it into a category of it being bad. And because it kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and like, you get a pretty good taste for my kind of movies. I've almost never picked an action movie for this podcast, like never. And we don't really do a lot of action movies, really.
No, we don't.
The Rundown, maybe, like we're not really, because this kind of stuff that we pick especially as of lately, we've been trying to get some stuff that gives you some fat to choose, some shit to talk about, and there's still plenty to talk about with this, but I did enjoy it. I think the movie is perfectly cast. I have no problem with the cast. I think that the story gets a little, I'm trying to think of the right word. It kind of gets a little wonky at times. I think that they do some stuff that's like unnecessary, especially for this thing being 2 hours long. I think they really could have cut about 15 to 20 minutes out of it, if I'm being honest. I did enjoy it. And like, it's almost to that point where I like want to be, when you start watching something, like you go and you watch like The Conjuring, and then you just get sucked into like the mythology of it, and you start Googling shit and reading about it. Like I was so close to getting sucked into this mythology and exploring the comic books and seeing what it was about, because I love the fact that they're so off the radar. Even the CIA or the FBI doesn't know about them. And let me tell you about Homeland Security. That is a miracle. But I think that, at the end of the day, though, it's not really something that's my kind of cup of tea. I'm not a big action movie guy. I really appreciate the choreography and what those people are doing. I read that Colin Firth had to do like 3 hours a day for 6 months, every day for 6 months, to do that bar scene where he comes in and just starts fucking them up. It's like, I can't imagine how long it took to do the church scene. Holy fuck. But I can't say this enough how much I appreciate this movie and how good it is at what it is trying to be. But unfortunately, it is not my kind of like sense of a movie. I kind of had to I was waiting for a twist, or I was waiting for something kind of smart to come up. And it was just like, oh, this is a little bit, I think it had been overhyped for me, but maybe I kind of overcomplicated it in my head. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. When you say it's overhyped, so there's different kinds of hype, right? So Is this multiple people telling you that it's a good movie, or is this kind of like multiple people telling you that this is the greatest movie on the planet? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
no, definitely not like greatest movie on the planet shit. But no, I was saying I had heard it recommended from quite a few friends, and then I was always seeing stuff on the internet about it, and I was like, who the fuck is this Taron Egerton guy? Who the fuck is that? And then of course when he got Elton John's role, I kind of was like, oh, okay, the Kingsman movies, I guess some, and then the second one came out, which I've never seen that either. So I think that
not good, by the way.
Do what?
It's not good.
Oh, okay, that sucks. I think that it's good at what it does. It's kind of like, if I showed up and played you a Norwegian black metal band like Old Man's Child or like Mayhem or some metal ass fucking music, you would just be like I'd love to see you at a metal show, like all these people with like all black on and like fucking just banging their heads, and you in just the middle of the room be like, hey, does anybody have change for a 10? Hello? Like, just see you walking through a crowd, you just feel like such a sore thumb.
I'm good. I think I'll pass on that. Thank you though. Thank you for the invite.
It's like offering a vegetarian a beautiful rack of ribs. It's like, you know what? That's not for me, but I'm sure somebody else that's perfect for them. And that's all I can really say. I'm not going to sit here and talk trash about the movie. It has some problems. We'll cross that bridge when we get to them. But all in all, I enjoyed it for what it is. It was just a little overhyped for me. I think I might have thought that this was going to have a little bit more to it. I think that it is a movie with a lot of surface level substance. Visually, it is very good. I think that the choreography is great. I think that the whole espionage thing, they do it really well, because we're not just seeing constant James Bond shit. That's kind of like feel like that's kind of our only look into the British Secret Service, except from like Man from U.N.C.L.E., which apparently was a big inspiration on this as well. But I think that it has a lot of visually striking things, and they do look good. But at the end of the day, to me, this is like a popcorn flick. And it's a little bit better than that, but you start at popcorn flick and kind of sprinkle a couple of really good performances on it. An interesting, not an interesting villain. I don't really care for Sam Jackson in it. I didn't think he was really that great. Thought he was okay. He's Sam Jackson with a lisp. I was like, cool, whatever. But I thought that his explanation for what he's doing, not what he's doing, but his explanation of his logic and how he explains it. I did enjoy that part. I was like, wow, this guy's actually...
the Thanos of it all?
Do what?
The Thanos of it all? It's basically Thanos' plan.
Right, but his whole explanation of the fever and the virus, and it's like, that's cool. I really dig that. I dug the hell out of that. But all in all, this is just not something, especially for me. I am fine with like some... I would love to sit down and watch a 4-hour-long Denis Villeneuve like sci-fi fucking existential shit, and I don't want to seem like I've got my head up my ass or I'm looking down my nose at those kind of movies, because this is still entertaining. I rented it. I'm glad I rented it. I probably won't buy it, but if I had to sit down and watch it again, I wouldn't hate it.
I get you, dude. This is gonna be a hard episode because I fucking love this movie, dude. Man, like, and honestly, you're trying to defend it as. Oh, sorry. You're saying that it is a popcorn movie, but also you're kind of like tripping over your heels, saying that it's a little bit better than a popcorn movie. I would say it is 100% a popcorn movie. Like, This is not a movie that I go to for a deep plot or anything like that. This is inherently a movie that I put into my fucking Blu-ray player, and I have a great fucking time watching it every time. Like, this came out in 2014, right?
Yeah,
and, I have seen it I saw it 3 times in the cinema, and loved each time. I think what it is, it's so adrenaline fueled, and it's just so confidently well directed, and I think that's why. That's such a staple of Matthew Vaughn's as well. Like, I mean, if you look at Kick-Ass, right? Kick-Ass is a concept that shouldn't have worked in film. Like, it just seems goofy. You know what I mean? He directed Kick-Ass way back when, and, you know, that everyone kind of took to that. And like, the reason for that was because of the really confident direction. And obviously, we can. Yeah.
Sorry. But I feel like the goofiness of Kick-Ass works really well when you have it's the characters in it. You know, it's Nick Cage, and Nick Cage is like pseudo Batman, and you're like, okay, this is the kind of world that we live in, like this wacky, crazy shit. Okay, then I can get behind like the visual style of that, and the running and the jumping and the quick cuts and the shaky kind of camera shit. I feel like it's more erratic, and that world feels more erratic. And I love Kick-Ass. I think Kick-Ass is way better than this movie, to be completely honest, but I think that has it fits better in that world. Sorry to interrupt you. I just thought just hit me.
Yeah, just don't let it happen again. But anyway, I'm kidding. But yeah, no, I do like Kick-Ass. I haven't seen it in a hot minute. I watched the sequel recently, and man, I hate that sequel, dude. It's not directed by Matthew Vaughn, and it's just, you can tell. But then, like, also when the X-Men fucking died in 2009 with X-Men Origins Wolverine, he fucking rebooted the franchise with First Class, dude. Like this is, and the reason for that is, again, because of his confident direction. Like, you can talk about like how great the characters of X-Men are in that First Class movie, but it's no small task to reboot a franchise as big as the X-Men, with a whole new cast, with a whole new take on it, whole new time period. And I think the reason why it works is because of Matthew Vaughn's like really, really confident and strong direction. And look, you can talk about like how, you know, this is based on the Mark Millar like comic book like series, and so is Kick-Ass. You know, they're very good friends, Matthew Vaughn and Mark Millar. Actually, I was reading how they came up with this, how Matthew Vaughn came to direct this was Mark Millar and Matthew Vaughn were sitting in a bar, and like, you know, they were reminiscing about how Bond movies were just so serious these days, and just general spy movies these days were so serious. This was around the time that Skyfall was kind of coming out in 2012, and Skyfall, look, great fucking movie, man. Like, it is outstanding, but they were kind of like sitting there, and they were just like, man, like, let's just, it's just too serious. Like, you know, there's no fun spy films out there these days. Like, there's no throwbacks to the 80s Roger Moore fucking Bond movies where it's just silly gadget shit, and it's just literally just fun to watch. It's just turn your brain off shit. And Matthew Vaughn was just like, well, someone else is going to wake up and do a fun spy movie, so let's fucking get on this shit, right? And that's exactly what happened. Man, seriously, like this, I have so much fun with this movie. Like, it is like the only word that I can possibly use to describe this movie is fun. Like, there is no part of this movie. You say it's 15 minutes too long, but like, dude, there is no part of this movie that I get bored at. Like, I'm just like, oh, I'm good. Honestly, I'm just like edge of my seat kind of. Like, you know, I'm either like chilling in the back of the fucking seat, or like I'm on the edge of it. Like, it's just, honestly, it keeps throwing new things at me, and like, we'll get to it, but like, it just keeps throwing new things at me that I'm just like, god damn, like, this is so adrenaline filled, and it's so fucking exciting, dude. And like, the cast is great. I had never seen a Colin Firth movie before this movie. Like, he's just not someone who stars in movies that I watch, and that's generally romance films.
Oh yeah, that's That's true.
Yeah, so this was a different role for him for sure. And I think he pulls off that, like old school classic spy, British spy really, really well. Like I was just like, God damn, man, like this guy got class. And then like Samuel L. Jackson walks in, and because I was watching this movie with my dad, for the podcast, and he's seen it before, but he's just like, holy fuck, man, like I forgot Samuel L. Jackson was in this. But like Samuel L. Jackson, he's never bad in anything. Like I struggle to think of a bad Samuel L. Jackson performance. And this is not it, dude. Like he doesn't necessarily elevate this whole movie, but I'm glad he's here. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like I'd replace him. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad you are Samuel L. Jackson. Taron Egerton, or Egerton, or however the fuck you pronounce his last name. I don't think he's generally great in this movie. I know that he just killed it in Rocket Man as Elton John, but I think that's a much, much stronger performance than this. This was one of his earlier roles. This was, I think, his like third role. And his first major film. I think he's definitely come a long way, but I don't necessarily like him or his performance in this film. Like, it feels a little... I mean, because he's kind of like that sort of like eyeglass for the audience, right? Like, he's kind of like that entry point into this world for the audience.
Yeah, he's like the medium.
Right, exactly. So he has to kind of like play that role like that, like, whoa, what's going on? Like that bullshit, right? But more than anything, dude, I love the style of this movie. I love, again, down to Matthew Vaughn's confident direction, the action sequences are just so, they're so hyper stylized. I love the Bond, let's not do no gadgets, let's do all the gadgets, and let's kind of let's see if it works. Let's just throw whatever the wall, see what sticks. And I have no interest in this plot, by the way. Like, I am not interested in this plot. I go to this movie just to have a fucking great time, and honestly, that's what I get every fucking time I sit down and watch this movie, dude. Like, it's just total fun from start to finish. The sequel takes this and kind of like amps it up, and that ends up working against it because it's just like a little too much sauce is not a great thing. And I'm glad, with the trailer for this prequel that's coming up, The Kingsman, I'm glad that they're kind of like taking it back to its roots sort of thing. Like, I really like where they're going with that. Ralph Fiennes as a fucking lead. Awesome, dude. Way down for that. But anyway, man, look, that's my thoughts. They're fairly brief, but I chose this movie specifically because it's not as deep. Like, you know what I mean? It's not Prisoners. It's not Whiplash. Like, it's just a movie that we can just kind of like get into and just like riff about. Like, I sometimes, like, I'm not really, like, in the kind of mood to talk about themes as heavy that were, like, present in Prisoners or Whiplash. Like, I'm just like, man, I just
like last week we're like, oh, post-apocalyptic sexual assault and murder. Like, that's like,
right, exactly.
God.
And then
can we go watch Stuart Little? Fuck.
We were getting into the fucking tenets of, like, religion and shit, and I'm just like, man, I'm good. Let me just watch some shit blow up once in a while. You know what I mean?
I'd laugh so hard to just walking into my room to go do this, and Lindsay being like, well, have fun. Be like, okay, please don't make me go. Please don't make me go.
Oh, man.
I said I'm sorry.
Dude, sometimes I'm just like, man, just let me just watch a dumb action movie. Please. Let me just watch it. And it's not even like a dumb action movie, dude. Like, you said it. You hit the nail on the head. Hobbs and Shaw is a dumb action movie, and I haven't even seen that movie yet. But that is the antithesis of dumb action movie. But, like, that's what that movie is going for. That's what the last few Fast and Furious movies have been going for. It's that kind of, like, throwback to, like, the late 90s, mid-90s action movies where it's just, things is just so, preposterous that it's just, they defy the laws of physics, essentially. And this movie's pretty much the same, except it's a lot more confidently directed, and it is a throwback to the mid-80s sort of like James Bond spy fare that people used to know and love, and done with today's technology and done with less goofiness. But I think that works in its favor 100%, dude. But anyway, man, look, like that's enough of that shit. What do you say we get into this bitch?
I'm down. Let's do it.
Fuck yeah. There's going to be so much disagreeing on this episode, guys. Just letting you know.
Yes, there will.
We kick off immediately. Dire Straits over the fucking credits. I love this opening, dude. Like, you get Dire Straits with the guitar and then, like, the helicopter. Middle East, 1997. I love, it's telling you immediately what kind of movie you're in for. Like, you get these two fucking special forces guys hanging off the ropes as this helicopter flies in and they shoot these two brown sand people.
I was going to ask you, do you know these guys, or like? I heard kind of something. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think they were my uncles way back when, but I don't know.
I've heard you people all know each other, so no, I'm just kidding. It's so fucked up.
No, those are the hairy kind, dude. Like, they're not brown. Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Dude, that Dire Straits song, I mean, I guess you've heard that before this movie, right?
Money for Nothing? Yeah, I had.
Dude, okay, well, at the end, I want my, that high voice at the end, I want my MTV. Do you know who that is?
No.
It's fucking Sting from The Police.
Really?
Yeah, dude, he came in, was just friends with Mark Knopfler and the rest of the guys at Dire Straits. And, like, a lot of people underestimate Dire Straits. I know this is kind of a tangent. One of the top 10 selling acts in England, like up there with Bowie and Beatles and Rolling Stones and Queen. Like, they're up in the top 10. I was like, that is fucking crazy. I mean, they're huge. They're a great band. They're very talented. They totally deserve it. But I think people have just kind of forgotten about them. And I think, I hope to see them get some kind of resurgence, because like every time you bring them up, I never hear a person that's like, I don't like Dire Straits. It's like, what are you, a fucking communist?
What are you, a commie? No,
what are you, fuck kids, you piece of shit? And I'm just start getting like real agitated about it.
Go back to Rome.
My dad died at a Dire Straits concert. And I was conceived
by an electric guitar.
I was conceived and born and married at a Dire Straits concert.
God damn it. Oh, man. Where are we?
The beginning.
I know. But anyway, man, like, I love this kind of, like, this shot. Like, it like, pulls into this. What is this? This kind of, like, castle kind of thing, right? And, like, I love this just through the windows, everything's exploding, and, like, the explosions form the rocks that form the title. I dig it, man. It's just a cool, fun opening. And then you get this interrogation scene of this, like, brown person, right? I'm just going to keep referring to them as brown people, because that's what they are. But yeah, dude, I was not expecting the violence to come this early. I just love the countdown and then the double kneecap. Fuck.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like, talk about going from like 2 to 10. He doesn't quite go to 10, but he goes to like 8.5. I'm like, oh, God. Like, at that point, he's definitely never walking again.
Right. He's fucking gone. Like, see ya. Like, say goodbye to your knees. It's not even like one kneecap. It's just like fucking bang, bang, like both knees. Like, see ya. Turns out he pulls a grenade pin, and this is Eggsy's father who takes the brunt of it. And they take off their masks, and it's fucking Colin Firth, and he's like, shit, I missed it. So he's so British, dude. So British.
Oh, I'm sorry, chap. I do believe your chest is full of metal shrapnel right now.
What the fuck is that from?
No, that's like something I've always heard about the British is just like they apologize profusely. Like, I'm sure he could be laying on top of him, dying, bleeding out, and be like, I'm sorry, sir. I probably should have gotten more of it with me chest.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry I kneecapped you.
If I could go back in time, I'd have just shoved it in my mouth or my ass.
Merlin, I apologize for putting you in this position. Really? Like he apologizes immediately.
I'm so sorry I spilt blood on your shoes, sir. He's like bleeding out on the ground and just pulls a pristine handkerchief out of his pocket and it's like rubbing his shoe down as he's bleeding out.
Oh, man. But then you cut over to Harry Hart meeting with Eggsy and his mum. He gives Eggsy's mum the Medal of Valor, essentially, right? And this is, if you look closely on the back of the number, on the back, there's a number. If you need help, please call it. And goes to talk to Eggsy. Basically, this is just kind of like the little meet cute, like in this little prologue here. But I love, like, the camera pushes in on the snow globe, and then you get the title, Kingsman, the Secret Service. Cut over to Argentina. It's kind of cool, actually. Like, arguably one of the best scenes in X-Men First Class took place in Argentina. It was that moment. It was at that moment in the cabin with fucking Magneto, dude, and the knife. Fucking badass.
Yes.
That kind of reminded me of this. But Argentina, 17 years later, you meet Mark Hamill.
I know, right? Yeah, I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I definitely didn't think he'd be playing in English. I mean, it's just his Joker voice. Let's be honest here. Like,
it is his Joker voice.
Right. I mean, it's great. It's always great. I never have a problem with it. But still,
I'm a university lecturer. I have no money.
Yeah, I have no money.
But I love Mark Hamill, dude. Like, who doesn't? I mean, come on. And this is the first time this is because you got to remember, this is pre-Force Awakens. So, like, he had not appeared on screen in a major film like this in a very long time. So, yeah, that was cool. But essentially, he's playing Professor Arnold. He's getting shaken down. And then knock at the door, right? They open the door, and it's fucking Commodore Norrington from Pirates of the Caribbean. You recognize that? No?
No.
Oh, really? You've seen the old Pirates, right? The old Pirates films?
Oh, the one who's marrying Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry. They kind of always get him and then, what's his name that was Miami and Bohemian Rhapsody?
Okay. Yeah. The guy who played Cutler Beckett.
Right. They have a lot of villains in those movies on the pirate and like the colonial side. So I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm like, all right, you got Jeffrey Rush, Javier Bardem. Like, I think Hugh Jackman was never mind. That's just the Blackbeard movie. I'm like getting my Pirates movie swapped up.
That was a Pan movie.
Oh, is that Pan? I thought it was just about Blackbeard. Fuck.
I don't fucking know. No. Ian McShane played Blackbeard in one of those films.
Just the way you
Yeah, because like I just don't know. I don't like where the Pirates films have gone, man. Like that first one was one of my favorite movies of all time, dude. Like I used to love that movie back in the day. Like it was just one of my favorites, but like, god damn it, dude, it's just fucking pieces of shit now.
Yeah, too many of them.
No, not really. I mean, there's a lot of Fast and Furious, but I still like that shit. Speaking of which,
God,
yeah, we're gonna cover Fast and Furious one day. But anyway, fucking Norrington takes these guys out in class, man, in style, dude. I love the way he takes these guys out. And, like, immediately you're kind of, like, exposed to the style of this movie and how the action's going to go out, right? Like, it's this really, like, hyper-stylized, like, he takes this guy out who's carrying the, what is it, is it brandy? That really old drink?
It's whiskey.
Whiskey, yeah. He takes that guy out, but I love the way he does it. Shoots him in the head, and before he goes down, like, he grabs the glass, like a fucking gentleman, dude.
Yeah, that's the best part. Like, a normal person would try and catch the tray. He's like, I don't need the tray. Just like, literally, he doesn't even lift it up. He just grabs the object as it is and just lets everything else fall around it. I'm like, that's badass. My favorite part of this is Mark Hamill's reaction to everything. Like, he's just like, no, his eyes are, and they do those Dutch angles where they kind of like zoom in or zoom out on him, and I'm like, oh, cool, I get it. Like, that's what I like when a movie uses Dutch angles to like try and evoke actual like fearful or disorienting thing. Like, I feel like this is like a very tongue-in-cheek, winking at you kind of like, we know this is kind of like hokey, like, but it kind of adds to this mysterious thriller spy kind of like old school feel about everything. That's one thing I love about Matthew Vaughn. He does really great with like the oranges, the blues, the yellows. Like it looks like everything kind of looks like a Van Gogh painting. Like his blues and yellows do so well together.
It looks beautiful. Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic. I love the way that he makes those colors pop off the screen.
Absolutely. 1962 Dalmore. Be ashamed to spill any. Jack Davenport, I can listen to this guy read an audiobook. Like, I love his voice. Like, I remember back watching that Pirates movie, man. I was like, I love this guy's voice. Like, it's so, it's beautiful. Like, literally, I could listen to it all day. He hears another knock on the door. He goes to investigate. Before he gets there, gets sliced in half by Gazelle. Goddamn. What did you think of Gazelle?
She's cool, I guess. I like the, I guess prosthetics, that she's got. There was actually a famous runner. I can't remember what his name is, but he ran with his two prosthetics on like that and won a lot of Olympics and got in. I think he went to jail for like murdering his girlfriend or his wife. It was like a Greek like runner, and they called him Blade Runner. I was like, okay,
that's cool.
Kind of worth losing the feet to get that nickname. Kind of worth it. I'm just saying, like, like you lose your dick and you get like an automatic mechanical electric dick, and it's like, oh, now they call him the Hammer. You're like, goddamn right they do. Like, I don't know. To me, I mean, if somebody's like, listen, we got to take your left arm. I'm like, but we're going to replace it with just like the T-1000. You can rip the skin off in front of people. It's like a party trick, and just show them the middle arm. Be like, fuck yeah, you can take both my arms, motherfucker. I'd be one of those people that like when the future comes up, I'm going to get way into like fucking modifying and shit. Like once you can install a headphone in your head, I will fucking do it. Like, absolutely. Tired of having like bring my headphones with me. Oh, these are dead. Oh, fuck, I left my charger at home. I want something in my ear. I just press a button and I can fucking listen to Blue by Eiffel 65 or whatever the fuck I'm listening to.
I love that you pulled Blue just out of your ass right now.
I got it was on at work. So, of course, it got stuck in my head. I started looking up YouTube covers. I find people playing it on, like, piano, which is actually really beautiful. There's, like, metal covers of it. Like, it's kind of like, they're having fun with it, but they're really well done. Like, I was actually really surprised. Like, if you slow that song down and drop the pit, like, change the tuning of it a little bit lower, it's very pretty, like, on piano. It's like, oh, yeah, wow, instrumentally, it's wonderful. It's just when you apply the Scatman, beep, bop, 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 like, random shit to the verses that it sounds odd.
One of the most catchiest songs I've ever heard, dude. Like I remember it popping up. I will never forget the moment I'm sitting there getting ready for Iron Man 3 and the Marvel logo comes up and it's like, and I'm like, shit, and they're playing Blue.
So fucking addictive, man.
But anyway, so Gazelle fucking slices him in half, dude. Like, wild. I like Gazelle. It's because you know what they're doing, dude. It's literally like Bond. Like, Bond had usually a villain that he could, like, a formidable villain that he could go up against, like, physically. And in my opinion, that would be the closest iteration to that would be Jaws.
Right. Yeah.
So, someone with, like, a physical deformity that was really, like, able to, like, go hand to hand with Bond. And then the main villain himself wouldn't be as, physically proficient, but he'd be smart. He'd be the smarter one. And that's kind of like what they're doing here, like, in my opinion. Like, I think that's what's going on here. And I really like Sophia Boutella as well. This was kind of like her big break too. She ended up, starring in that god-awful Mummy remake with Tom Cruise.
Did you ever see it? I just heard it was awful.
I did, unfortunately. It's bad. It's not
I hate that because I wanted that Dark Universe to do something. Just hear you trailing off. I really wanted that Dark Universe to take off because, like, man, these are, you know me, my horror movies. I grew up watching that shit. And I hate that didn't take off.
Well, dude, here's the thing. Like, that movie opened with the logo Dark Universe. Like, they fucking counted their chickens before they hatched, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing for Universal, too. But anyway, I love, like, she puts the sheets down, has to make everything clean, and in walks Samuel L. Jackson as Richard Valentine. At this point, if you hadn't seen a poster or a trailer, you're just like, what the fuck is this movie? Like, you know what I mean? He walks in with a New York Yankees hat, like, in the middle of the fucking snow. He's got this crazy list, no stomach for violence. He's like fucking Mike Tyson.
Yes. I was going to say, if Mike Tyson fucked, probably forcefully, Steve Jobs, and they had a baby together, then it would turn out to be this fucking guy. I enjoy it. Like, I just, there's not really much to his villain. He's not a great villain, but like you said, we're not really here for, like, a plot. This isn't fucking Prisoners. This isn't something, like Nightcrawler or Velvet Buzzsaw, where we're getting, like, real in depth with, like, this subtext about culture and blah blah blah. It's not really anything like that. But I do enjoy Sam Jackson. I just, he was kind of 2-dimensional for me. But that's the whole thing. I wish they'd actually made him like an autistic savant. Like, if they had something about him where he was just. Yeah, when you have somebody that's that intelligent, it's like there's a guy who can hear a piece of music on piano and play it back to you immediately. No problem.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, just insane talent. But I mean, he can't fucking tie his own shoes. So it's like I wish there was some kind of. And I think it would have worked well if they'd have made him some kind of autistic savant where, like, yeah, he's this genius and maybe, like, his thoughts are, I'm not, and I want to make this clear. I'm not saying, like, oh, so he's autistic, so he must be, he's not thinking right. Oh, because he's autistic. No, I'm just saying that if you were to make him kind of this autistic savant, I think it would help with some of his.
You're saying, like, he should be retarded.
Right, exactly. It makes me feel better. I mean, fucking throw him in the pits. No, but the thing, like, it would help me with his idiosyncrasies, his kind of mannerisms, his tics and stuff like that. I would actually enjoy that. Or even something like Tourette syndrome or something. Like, I had a couple friends who grew up with Tourette syndrome, and it was always like they were so incredibly intelligent long term, but short term it was just hard to get them, keep them like, hey man, like, empathy. They're like, what? Huh? Like, what are you talking about?
Isn't Tourette's the one where you just like, fuck?
Sometimes it's more tics and stuff. Like, we had a friend of ours named Matt House, and Matt House would like tick his head to the side, or like he would like set off like M80 fireworks like on his shoulder or something, like blow a chunk of dude. Yeah, he was kind of nuts. So it's kind of like, hey, that's not cool, man. There's the way I had to be like, no, don't do that. So it's something like that. Like if there was maybe a little bit more of a reason, like he's so smart, but at the same time, socially, he's just failing to understand why this is not the way that we do things like this,
Right. I think it's not really a tick, but I like that I like that he's got no stomach for violence. Like I think that is such a weird like thing about him that just for me it just works, dude. It's just like, man, like they gave this character the most ridiculous thing, like no stomach for violence, like while he's got this like massive crazy James Bond-esque villain plan going on. I love it. We cut over to London, and we're in Savile Row, and this is basically we meet Arthur, played by Michael Caine, and obviously, you're starting to get a sense of what Kingsman is. If Michael Caine is Arthur, and then you got Galahad, and you got Mark Strong's character as Merlin, like you're getting a sense of what this is. By the way, Mark Strong, dude, that's always an actor that I've always loved. He like in the Sherlock Holmes movie, in that first Sherlock Holmes movie. What was he in as well? Oh, Kick-Ass. He was in Kick-Ass. He was the villain. Fucking hell. How did I forget that?
Oh, yeah. See, I thought this was Stanley Tucci for like 2 seconds. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Like for like half a second, I was like, oh, no, it's not. Never mind.
No, this is like Stanley Tucci if he grew balls and became a bit more manlier.
Now, is this guy, what is this actor's name? I'm sorry. I keep
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong. Is he in Shazam?
He is. He's the villain in that too.
Okay. I recognize him from the trailer.
Yeah, he's definitely in Shazam. But anyway, so they're kind of like having a few drinks to mourn Lancelot. They say that he was investigating a group of mercenaries who were experimenting with biological weaponry. I love glasses, gentlemen, please. And they put on the glasses, and it's basically a board meeting. Merlin's given essentially the lowdown. We find out that Mark Hamill's character James Arnold was kidnapped, except he wasn't kidnapped. He's back to working. Just nothing happened, right? Arthur gives the mission to Harry Hart. And I love one of my favorite lines, dude. The world is changing. There's a reason why aristocrats develop weak chins.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I like that. I like that he's kind of like a blend of the old guard and the new guard, with like, I can't remember.
He's got that rebellious streak.
Yeah, it's like, what is that quote I heard? With the coming of age, she's a change in the guard or something like that.
With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, that
yeah,
one.
Exactly. Yeah. Make sure don't eat anything after 6. Moss grows on the east side of a tree. Whatever the fuck that is.
Oh, man. We cut back to a now grown-up Eggsy looking at himself in the mirror. Essentially, Eggsy's mom is about to get into a three-way. This poor, like, Eggsy's, what is his sister or little brother? Like, the baby?
Yeah, I guess his little sister, or probably like a half-sister.
Yeah. Poor fucking kid, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty, man. When are Tom Holland and Edgar, oh, God. I already fucked his name up. Yeah, Taron Egerton. When are Tom Holland and him going to play brothers in something? Because come on, man. I mean, maybe it's just because I think that a lot of actors in Hollywood that have that same look, like just kind of start to blend after a while. Like Jake Gyllenhaal or Ryan Gosling. Like after a while, you're kind of like, oh yeah, white guy, about 5'10" to 6 foot, brown hair, 5 o'clock shadow, or going into a stubble, like that kind of like look. So I don't know, and I'm not saying that like to be like a jackass or anything. Like I really think that Taron Egerton and Tom Holland could pull off like a movie where they are brothers. They do have, and also with their careers coming out kind of together. Like I feel like around the same time, I think that they could definitely pull something off.
Dude, Taron Egerton, I reckon, could play a decent Eddie Brock. Venom.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even mind him doing like an audition for Spider-Man. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah,
I'm not against it.
Well, man, like Taron Egerton's name has been like thrown around for so many heroes. Like I remember his name being thrown around for Batman. I'm just like, I don't know if he can do that, but anyway, I can't really see that. I love this scene at the bar. At the bar, they steal his car and they take off. They get into this police chase, dude. Okay, Bonkers by Dizzy Rascal. That is a song that highlighted my 18-year-old self. I hate that fucking song now, dude. Every time I hear Bonkers by Dizzy Rascal or any song by Dizzy Rascal, I'm just like, oh, fuck this. This is my least favorite scene because of this fucking song, dude. I hate it so much. I just hate it.
I've only watched this once, and it was several hours ago, so I can't think of what this. I really did dig the soundtrack to this a lot, actually. Though I'd never heard that song before, so it's a different experience for me. But I did enjoy like everything I heard from it. It kind of had that's what I'm saying, like an Edgar Wright Baby Driver kind of feel to some stuff, especially these beginning scenes.
Oh yeah, these beginning scenes for sure, dude. Like especially like when he's doing the parkour later outside his little apartment. The song comes back and he's running away from the kids and all that shit. But essentially, they get into a car chase. He crashes the car into the police car like a fucking idiot. I don't know why, by the way. I get that you have a broken home life, but I don't get this. I also don't get, all right, and here's the thing. Harry Hart tells Eggsy that, he's gotten into problem with police before, he's got into problems with drugs and things like that. Why call the police now? Is it because why call Kingsman now? Is it because he's facing jail time?
I think so. I think, like what you were just saying, I know he's from a broken home, but why is he doing this? I think he knows, like, listen, like, this is just maybe one of the few times we're not going to be able to, like, all of us kind of get out of here, scot-free. So let me just bite the bullet on this one because I've got an ace in my hole. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So Eggsy obviously gives the number a call on the back of the metal, and Harry Hart ends up freeing him. I do love that little transition. Like, there's the cops outside. This cop, by the way, is in Chernobyl. He plays this Russian sort of like general who's in charge of the cleanup.
I still need to watch that.
Dude, you got to get on that shit. I'm not even kidding. I'm still thinking about that. And then, Harry Hart and Eggsy have a nice little conversation at this bar. Essentially, Harry gives him a kind of like the lowdown on what, not really in what Kingsman is, but that, he used to work with his father, and his father was a good man, a brave man. Having read his files, I think he'd be bitterly disappointed in the choices you've made. I love how Eggsy doesn't really lie down though. Like, I love how it's just like, you can't talk to me like that. Like, you know what I mean? He's not a little bitch. Huge IQ, great performance at primary school. Then it all went tits up. Drugs, petty crime, never had a job. Oh, you think there's a lot of jobs going around here, do ya?
Well, and I really like Edgerton here. Is it Edgerton or Egerton?
I'm going to say Egerton.
Egerton? Okay. I couldn't remember if there's let me, hold on. Yeah, Egerton. I've been saying Edgar. It's Egerton. Yeah, Egerton is, I kind of get this Attack the Block feel from him, like, believe it, fam, bruv. You know what I'm talking. Have you ever seen Attack the Block?
No.
Oh, man, John Boyega and like Nick Frost. Dude, that's a good movie, man. That's really good. You could even say it's kind of like a cousin to like Shaun of the Dead and shit. It's like, it's produced by Edgar Wright and Nina Park, who does like all of their, like the Cornetto trilogy and shit. So if you like the Cornetto trilogy, you'll love Attack the Block. It's a little bit different, but it's still a damn good movie.
I like 2/3 of the Cornetto trilogy.
You eat my fucking ass. Do you understand me?
I know.
That's my personal favorite of this. So you come into my house and you shit in my child's mouth in front of me.
I was conceived to the world's end.
I got my first blowjay in the theater watching World's End.
Wait, is that a true story? Is that
no? God, no. I was okay. That's like 20. I'd be like 25 or 26. Like, what am I fucking Mormon?
Well, no, that didn't come out that recently, did it?
Well, see, I'm fucking 29. When did World's End come out?
Oh, okay, yeah. I keep forgetting that you're like 180 years old. But anyway, Eggsy's what's described as a chav in British terms, I guess. And it's kind of like these fucking teenagers or whatever that they wear like, the sports clothes and shit, like kind of like lower class people. Like apparently that's what it's called. Like it's chavvy or chavish or I don't know. Craig Dealey, correct me, please. Fuck, I'm dying over here.
Dude, the amount of British shit in here is like, the only thing more British than this movie is Tony Blair having sex with Queen Elizabeth in a cup of Earl Grey tea, as you hear, as they're just as everybody's Facebook comments about Brexit are shredded up and poured like confetti from the sky. It is so fucking British in this movie, dude. I was like,
Patrick Stewart sits in the background just being like, thrusters engage. Oh man, yeah, it is. This movie is British as fuck, dude. But I think like it's by design, and I think that definitely works because in the sequel, once they bring in, there is a US contingent of the Kingsmen called the Statesmen. Now that the statesmen in that sequel that's one of the best parts of that movie, and they are kind of like underutilized, and that's one of sort of the negatives about that movie that I have. But yeah, I do like that there are kind of like different contingents of the Kingsmen around the world. Like, I definitely love that part of it for sure.
What I heard at first is that they were wanting to do this as an American film and call them Uncle Sam, and it would be kind of like the man from Uncle. And kind of playing off of that, saying, okay, well, we'll just call them like Uncle Sam. They were kind of doing a send up to like the old 70s British spy stuff. And then they're like, I don't know why they couldn't do it in America or with America. I can't remember exactly what the problem was. So they just said, fuck it, we'll just do English.
I just thought because Matthew Vaughn's British, no?
I have no idea.
Oh, all right. Well, essentially this conversation gets broken up, right? And then you get this pub fight. Dude, this shit is badass. Like, it's so over stylized and super like quickly cut that I think it just like it goes way far into the other direction that it absolutely works for me. And not to mention the music by Henry Jackman's playing as well. You get it starts off with the umbrella, the fucking the schooner getting like smashed into the guy's face. He goes flying. There's a lot here, dude. We're not going to get into it, but like pulls out the umbrella, puts it at stun, like fucking flips that guy over, then uses his watch to stun the bartender. I love all of this, dude. What do you think of this?
Manners maketh men.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. I dig all the old school kind of feel about this. I actually off air was talking about how I've started replaying LA Noire. Fucking love that game. And that kind of has me feeling for a movie like this. So I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it a little bit more than I thought I would, even though I didn't think it was just fantastic. Like, once I realized what kind of movie I was in for, I still enjoyed it a little bit more because of this feel that I've had for LA Noire and listening to like a lot of older true crime shit lately. But I dug the hell out of that. I dug the older feeling of all this, how it's not, yes, they are gadgets, but it's not like, it's not over tech. It's not like Iron Man tech. It's just like, it's very innocuous. It's a watch. It's in a shoe. It's on your glasses. Like, everything is, there's no fat to be trimmed off of how they utilize everything on their body. And I think that's one of my favorite parts is like your hands are your best weapon and everything else is just kind of like a backup. You know what I mean?
Oh, I dig it. It's support. Like, you're using it as support. But I love it, dude. I love the way it ends. It's just it's crazy. Like, it's just an immediate sort of like, this is the action of the film, and it's just like, god damn, like, and he's so proficient, dude. I was like, there's no way Colin Firth can do action sequences, and then it's like, bam, and like, look, that's probably not him. Like, it's a stuntman, but still, wild.
No, apparently that is him.
Oh, that's what you were saying earlier. Yeah, fuck, that's
yeah.
crazy. That's wild, dude. That's awesome.
Get your shit together.
Oh god, I know. I'm terrible at this shit. Eggsy goes home, dude. His mother's boyfriend, the actor is so intense, dude. Like, his name's Dean. Like, he holds the fucking like the hatchet up to his face. God damn.
Yeah, it's a bit much. I mean,
who was you in with that fucking pub? I want to know the name of the geezer you was with. What?
Yeah, I just expected him to be like a butcher in early New York in like the 1900s, and like him with this like English fucking ass accent, like holding the knife. I was like, is this Bill from Streets of, or what is oh god, what is that?
Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York. I was like, Streets of New York? No, that's not it.
That's, dude, like he is this actor is like, he's in it, like he's in the moment. Like, his face looks like it's about to blow up. It's so fucking red. God damn it. But of course, Harry's put the speaker on Eggsy's jacket, and he's like, I'll fucking tell the police what you did if you don't let him go. Essentially, another piece of gadgetry that seems to work in Eggsy's favor. By the way, what the fuck is Eggsy? I hate that fucking name, dude.
Yeah, that's super weird. How do you get
Eggsy from Gary?
Yeah, and I was hoping there would be a bit of a thing like people call him Eggsy, and maybe it's kind of like a Marty McFly, you call him me chicken kind of thing, where at the end, I feel like that could be his test. At the end, he comes back in the pub, and, these guys are there, and they call him Eggsy, and it just, like, let that be the thing that has him lock the doors and turn around and beat ass. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I wish they would have, like, not just kept calling him Eggsy the whole time. Like, that's kind of like, I had a cousin, we called him Baby John. And eventually he was like 6. He's like, I'm not a fucking baby. Stop calling me that. Like he eventually hit a point. He's like, wait, why am I still being called Baby John? I wipe my own ass. Stop calling me that.
Yeah.
Beat the shit out of him.
I see what you're saying. What? Shut up, Meg.
And then I beat the shit out of him.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Baby John will tell the same story the same way.
No, he won't.
Anyway. Eggsy goes to Kingsman the tailor, and you've got that iconic Kingsman. He meets up with a Galahad. I'm just going to call him Harry Hart, and they get into this conversation. Right, this is kind of like the induction of it all. My point is, the lack of a silver spoon has set you on a path that you needn't stray from. If you're prepared to adapt and learn, you can transform. Oh, like in My Fair Lady. God, you're full of surprises. Dude, I think the script of this, the actual dialogue work of this movie is actually quite clever. Like we didn't talk about that enough. Like it actually is, the back and forth, the banter between the characters is really well done. And it's not cliche. Like it is cliche, but it's like it's trying to be that way on purpose. And I really appreciate it, dude. Like I think it works 100% in its favor. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the dialogue is good. It's quick, it's snappy, it's funny, right. It's clever. There's not really anything that gets said that I'm like, this is kind of whatever. Maybe some of the villain motivations, but that's not a dialogue thing. That's a plot problem. So, or not even a problem. It's just not it's not a big deal. I enjoyed it. I'm sure this would be a fun script to read. Do you ever sit down and read any scripts?
Yeah. I mean, I used to do it all the time back in the day, man. It's... Sometimes it's fun, it depends what you get, really. Like, do you do it often?
Sometimes, because I've been trying to write a little bit more lately, so, I'll go and I'll pick up a script and say, oh, okay, so I started the scene on the front lawn, but then they go into the house, so I have to do a new slugging, a new headline, blah, blah, and I'll go and just kind of watch a scene and pull the script up online and see how it is, but I always like to see, how it's interior, night, Zoheb's house, whatever. I always like to picture, if you were reading it in a book, you'd be like, interior, night, Zohabs. It's because it's always in these real bold fucking letters, somebody screaming. It's like, Zohab sits in his room recording a podcast. It's a total normal voice afterwards.
Yeah, whatever. I tuned out of that fucking shit. I love being on a when you're on a rant, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, most people now that know me, they just pave over them. They're like, all right,
yeah, well done with that. Anyway, so Harry takes Eggsy all the way to the Kingsman mansion and introduces them. Well, this is kind of like the tryouts, right? There's only one space for a Kingsman agent, and this is going to be like we're going to have tryouts. Dude, some of these Digby, can we just talk about the most British name on the planet, Digby and Rufus? These are not children, dude.
No, the only Rufus I know is a late 60-year-old former principal alcoholic and a dog named Digby. That's about as far as I got.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a dog's name, Digby, and I think Eggsy picks up on that too. He shakes his hand. He's like, "Oh, Digby, all right." No, wait, I think we may have met. Did you serve me at the McDonald's in Winchester service station? No, but if I had, I'd given you an extra helping of the secret sauce. It's definitely St. Andrews. I dig it. I love the back and forth. But Charlie's a fucking cunt.
Yeah, no, he's the one that lasts till he's the last
he's the main
third,
one,
right?
Yeah, he's the Draco Malfoy of it all. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, fuck that dude. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't. He kind of gives me a Cyclops Scott Summers kind of vibe. Looking at him, I'm like, he's got a good height, he's got a good build. I could see him being maybe. I'm just saying, I could definitely see him being in the X-Men, especially now with this being Matthew Vaughn, and I'm like, all right, now just picture this guy as young so-and-so or something. Okay, cool. I can picture that.
I could see that when he's not playing a douchebag for sure. We also meet Roxy here, right? Roxy? This girl is beautiful, by the way.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. Calm down there, Colin.
Oh, fuck you. This girl's beautiful. Oh, yes, she is. All right, Colin, that's enough.
Settle down, you fucking horn dog.
Hey, we're done here.
We're done here. Roxy tells Eggsy it's just scare tactics. Classic army technique, no one's gonna die. He looks over at Charlie, Digby, and Rufus. Shame. And we cut over to Valentine having a conversation with the fucking president of all people, Barack Obama. I love... what do you think about this?
Well, we've got to get in there, and we've got to defeat the terrorists. My wife,
You're on,
Michelle,
Mr. Valentine. I'm listening.
Yeah, fucking Jordan Peele's impression of Obama.
Yes.
So fucking... Oh, it's fantastic, man. That's like probably... It's like one of the best impressions.
One of my favorite clips of all time from Key and Peele is the one where it's just like he's walking there with his I can't remember the name, whoever Keegan-Michael Key plays, he's kind of like bodyguard, whatever, translator, and like they're walking through like this group of like black and white like supporters, and like Jordan Peele is just like the black folk is like, come on, my brother started from the bottom, now we're here, and then like to the white people, he's just like, pleasure to meet you,
hello,
pleasure, hello, hi.
The one girl goes in for a hug, and he has to kind of like, ooh, like he kind of jukes her. He's like, nope.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it. He's so good. But anyway, so this is kind of like the first sort of like look in of like what kind of like power that Valentine has, like what kind of sway, what kind of pull he has. I do like the, him kind of like giving the monologue and then like we pull back and it's the White House. I dig it. I like it. It's cheesy, but I like it. And of course, as long as you agree to all my terms. And then we cut over back to Kingsman, right? As the recruits are sleeping, the room starts to fill with water and everyone wakes in panic. I dig it, man. What do you think about this? This whole, like... This was so unexpected, dude, when I watched this at the movies. Like, because we are not getting a moment's break. We're not getting any kind of, like, rest. It's just, like, right into it.
I dug it. I actually have a, well, I guess it's not an irrational fear. I mean, of drowning. I think I'd probably rather be set on fire, to be completely honest. Like, I can't, something about, and I'm doing wrong, much more painful way to die. But the feeling of being surrounded by, I don't know, it's like, not even just drowning in water. Imagine drowning in sand. Imagine drowning in, like, being stuck in, like, a corn silo. Like everything, like every orifice of your body being just shoved in with something like
mud.
That's
or like
it's
coffee.
So yeah, like it's so crazy to me to think about. It's just water. Like if I just chug and chug and chug and chug and just enough to just, man, it's so funny that I think it's always been kind of ironic because you see the thing that is needed for everything on life, or everything on earth to sustain life. And just, I mean, you can drown in 6 inches of water. That's fucking insane to me, man. And water, I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of, I know this is kind of a tangent, but it's always, it's a gallon of water versus
Settle
a
in,
gallon
guys.
of...
Colin's going to talk about H2O.
No, it's called H2O. The thing about, like, it's how heavy water is, or how, if there's too much of it, just flooding. I mean, flooding here is actually a pretty common problem. So like when it starts to flood, like Nashville was in like 3 feet of water sometime a couple of years ago. They had to shut down this huge, Opry Mills Mall. It's fucking insane. Like, you could just go downtown on a boat and just go through the streets. But I love what Bruce Lee said. He's like, water is incredible. Water is, water can flow or water can crash, but anywhere where the problem is, basically the water will find a way around it no matter what. Yeah, so he's like, be water. And I've always really loved that philosophy, adapt to whatever situation that you're in. But this whole thing of drowning has just like always been, especially a very, I wouldn't say touchy thing to me, because there's a time I was a kid, I was at a wave pool and I didn't almost drown, but I had to be pulled out by a lifeguard. Like, it was terrifying. I can't remember how old I was. It's probably 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there. And I gotten pushed to the front of this group of people on an inner tube, and the wave comes down and hits me. And I just go straight through the inner tube, like forehead touches my feet, and I just shoot straight down. And I can remember hitting the back of this like 12-foot pool, 6-foot pool. I can't remember how much it is. And just seeing this red person just jump in and pull me out of there. This is a lifeguard. And I was like, holy shit. So like, there's something about drowning. It's always super fucked me. Like that feeling of looking up and there's too many people. Like, even if I got to the surface, I wouldn't have been able to stick my head up because it was just feet everywhere. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, that shit is terrifying to me, man.
Yeah, so you had to be rescued. You're so fucking needy, Colin.
Right. And I fucked her afterwards, and she paid me for it. It was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, dude, like we do get flooding here. Actually, we haven't had it in a while. Most of it's up in like Queensland, sort of like the northern part of the country. But yeah, we definitely get it. Mostly it's bushfires here though. Like man, when it heats up in summer, like the fucking it like the forests turn into tinder boxes, dude. It's crazy.
It's so dry and shit.
Yeah, everything's dry and like there's a total fire ban, dude, and like the police are like enforcing that shit like crazy as well. So yeah, it is. I guess it's just like, you know, us being on the total polar opposite side of the world, that like just each country has different problems. But what can you do?
Right, being lower, a little bit lower than on the equator, you know.
Exactly. Did you say equator?
Yeah, the equator.
Yeah, you just said it so weird. Equator.
Oh, yeah. No, sometimes when the word, I was like, equator, there we go. Word came to me.
But yeah, man, I love the way this whole sequence is kind of filmed, right? And it like the music that Henry Jackman uses, it's pretty unique because it's like, it feels like the movie itself is telling the audience to hold its breath with Eggsy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, like, slowly starts to build up, and, like, there's this kind of, like, ringing sound. Like, if you were to take, like, a metal, like, pipe and, like, bang it against, like, I don't know, like, I guess, like, a metal trash can or something, like, really lightly, and then, like, start to, with each bang, just, like, start to add more and more sort of, like, pressure. That's what it sounds like that Henry Jackman's using, and it works so fucking well, dude. Like, I turned it up, the volume all the way up, and, like, our subwoofer was just fucking going crazy, and my mum walks in and she's like, it's too loud!
Lindsay does that to me all the time. She's like, why do you have this turned up? It's like, it's on 12. Okay, it's on 12.
But yeah, man, I love it. I love that Eggsy also, like, you know, thinks outside the box, right? Like, he knows that this is a two-way mirror. He goes to, like, punch it, like, they smash through it. I love that all the other guys as well have also used their intelligence and training from other things. They essentially put the breathing tubes around the U-bend of the toilet, and they get the unlimited air supply. According to Merlin, simple physics worth remembering.
It definitely gave me a Men in Black vibe when Will Smith's getting trained at the beginning, and he just like pulls the table towards him and just uses street smarts versus automatic like book knowledge, you know?
Smarts. Yeah, absolutely. But Merlin says that every single one of them had failed, right? You all forgot the most important part, teamwork. And they look over and they see the dead body of Amelia in the room. I love all of this, dude. Like, immediately you kind of get stakes, right? Like, even though later we find out that these guys aren't really dead. Like, I love
that was a nice twist.
Yeah, it was cool. So much for classic army technique. But Harry goes to visit Professor Arnold, and essentially this is just where his fucking head just explodes, right? Like the microchip.
Is this Michael Caine's classroom in Inception?
Yeah,
that's all I could think of.
Yeah,
man.
That's what it looks like. Except the classroom in that, like, the seats are sort of elevated though. Like the seats kind of like, it's kind of like an amphitheater in Inception, whereas here it's kind of like flat.
I don't know. They look very similar to me.
Fuck you, I'm right. No, but yeah, Arnold's head just fucking explodes. I love, this is something that I love, and it's very Edgar Wright. So these two goons walk in. You got a shot of Harry Hart. He looks over. The camera pans over to these two goons walk in, and the camera swings back around to Harry Hart but he's gone, and instead left in his place is the grenade. I love that shit, dude. Like, it's just he's fucking gone.
The editing for this movie, if any, now I can be subjective about a movie and say that's just not my preferred taste. Okay, that's fine. If someone were to come and say, no, the editing in this movie sucks, I'd be like, well, get on your knees because I'm gonna blow your brains out. It's so funny how much it's kind of like the bass player of a band. The editor never gets enough credit ever. The editing of a movie can save a really bad movie. Yeah, like the first cut of Rambo: First Blood was like 3 hours long. It was just terrible. To the point where Stallone wanted to like buy the footage back so the movie never got out. And he sat down with the editor and they chopped that thing down into this amazing film. And I think that a lesser movie tries to do something like this and it comes out looking cheap or cheesy, or they put CGI in there instead. But the dedication to the fight scenes, because, you know, my only thing with Matthew Vaughn is I haven't seen a lot of his movies except for maybe First Class. And First Class doesn't have like a shit ton of like Oh yeah, and Kick-Ass, yeah. Never mind then. I was going to say, I can't really think of a lot of like where it's this level of hand-to-hand choreography. There is some in Kick-Ass. There's quite a bit, but I don't think it's as much as Kingsman, especially with that church brawl and stuff. So I think their dedication to this in front of and behind the camera and that whole crew, especially with the editing and stuff, they do such a fantastic job. And editing is, just a thing all into itself. And whoever his editor is, just make sure you don't piss that guy off and keep him around for a long time, because he does a fantastic job.
Right. Like what you just said reminds me of, and it was an episode of LSG Media. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been, I think it was Inglourious, when they covered Inglourious, and they were talking about Quentin Tarantino's editor, Sally Mink. And I think it was just before that she had passed away, and the editing in that film, or maybe, I can't remember, maybe it was Django, but they were talking about how the editing in his earlier films seems so much different than the editing in his later films, and that just comes down to like just how good of a director, how good of an editor you have like in your team. It definitely makes a difference.
I've also heard, if you want a really good, this might be a little sexist, but like, have a man direct, you have a woman edit, because every good movie, like Goodfellas, Pulp Fiction, like a lot of these movies have always been that kind of pairing. And I think that might have been something I heard from Scorsese. And then there was a whole list of them that came through, and I was like, oh, dude, wow, that's insane.
Margaret Sixel, who edited Fury Road, like George Miller's wife. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
I think even George Lucas's wife had a hand in editing New Hope and stuff. Like, again, not enough credit given to that role, honestly.
Yeah, Lee Smith just won an Oscar for editing Dunkirk. Like, that shit was wild. But anyway, let's get back on track, eh? Valentine just found out about Professor Arnold. Goddamn love Professor Arnold. My colleague died. That's what he said. This is an organization and they're all over us. So he kind of like figures out that Kingsman's after him. But I love Gazelle kind of like saying, oh, look, I made contact with the KGB, MI6, Mossad, Beijing. I love Beijing. Valentine's whole rant about Beijing. So freaky how they don't have a recognizable name for the Chinese Secret Service. Now, that's what you call a secret, right? He orders Gazelle to speed things up. They need to bring the product release forward, essentially, right? Then we cut over back to the Kingsman. We see puppies in cages placed in front of the recruits. Wherever you go, your dog goes. You will care for it, you will teach it, and by the time it's fully trained, so will you be. Those of you who are still here, that is.
Favorite part of the movie.
You love this film? You love this part?
I was like, I'll take that. How much for that doggy in the window?
This part's so good, dude. I love that Eggsy chooses the pug thinking it's a bulldog. Oh man, yeah, this is great. And then you get basically Harry's recovering from the grenade explosion. You find out about it's weird because this goes into a whole lot of like montage sort of section, right? This is basically like your Rocky training montage. Like right. we see him like sniping and them running with the dog, him pointing I'm just gonna say M16, like pointing it at the pug. And I was like, oh my god, the pug just not even moving.
Yeah, the pug's like, fuck you. One thing that I didn't get about this is like, do we really need Colin Firth like getting into this thing and being it lasts 30 seconds. Like, I don't really understand the point of having him in a coma for like a minute. Like, I would have liked if they'd actually said like, hey man, take it easy, you're getting back into the field, you've been unconscious for like, a good couple months probably. So it's like you've been in a coma, like take her easy. And maybe that ends up what kind of leads to like his death later on as he exhausts himself. And he's like, I've been, fucking sitting in a bed for 2 months and here I am fighting 50 people in a church. I would have liked to have seen maybe some kind of repercussion from that, because without any repercussions, what's the point of it even happening?
Yeah, I get you. I don't mind it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, it kind of shows like the passing of time, I guess, right? Like, just the beard. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's it, really. Like, that's all the only reason it's in there. But then we cut over to Valentine meeting with the Scandinavian Princess Tilde and the Swedish Prime Minister for dinner.
Are you talking about blonde Amy Adams?
Yeah, right?
Fucking whiteys.
Dude, she looks like a mixture of Amy Adams and Rosamund Pike. You know Rosamund Pike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a woman.
Yeah, Rosamund Pike is like, it was World's End. World's End is what did it for me, and I'm like, good God, she seems like she'd be funny as fuck. Like she seemed like she would just be such a funny person to be around. I don't know. Being funny is such an attractive thing to me. I know you always hear the stereotypical, girls like funny guys. It's like, dude, guys love funny girls. Like if you're funny, that's like, oh man, you get points on the scale like right off the rip.
Absolutely. First time I saw Rosamund Pike was not a good movie. Fucking Die Another Day, that James Bond movie with Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was in that. And then, man, like, honestly, probably an Oscar-worthy performance in Gone Girl, dude. She was fucking incredible in that movie. But anyway, this is kind of like they're having a disagreement. The Swedish Prime Minister he thinks the whole plan is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And Tildy's just like, you are completely crazy. More on Tildy and her asshole later. But, yeah.
I know, right?
Valentine says, look, sorry, you've got a big role to play in getting the region back on track. You're popular, inspirational, and you have the power to galvanize the people. Essentially, he gets a fucking, held prisoner, essentially. Cut over to a now recovered Harry Hart. This is kind of like where they get in on sort of Valentine's plan. They're watching Valentine revealing his plan. Well, not really revealing his plan, but just kind of like getting everything in order, saying that anyone can use his SIM cards to get free internet forever, for free, forever, for free.
Now, I get a little bit confused. The SIM cards go out to everybody. That causes this 28 days later rage virus, whatever you want to call it. What is with the thing in the people's heads? Is that to like stop them from doing that? Does that make them immune to it?
Yeah, so the thing in the people's heads is to make them immune to it. That's why all of his kind of like staff have it. That's why he doesn't. Right. He doesn't have it. I'm assuming he developed something a little more advanced for himself. But yeah, that's to protect. The people that he doesn't want selected for this culling from that rage from that signal essentially. But that in and of itself is unstable. Like which causes that thing later on.
Just because you're not going to murder anybody doesn't mean it's going to stop somebody from murdering you. Like that, right? You're outnumbered like 1 to 700, like anywhere you go.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, look, Bond villain size plan, right?
Yeah, right.
And then, dude, we cut over to still one of the most intense sequences that in the entire movie. First time I saw this, dude, I was like, God damn, this is really well done. This is obviously the scene where they're jumping out of the plane with the parachutes, right? I was like, once you introduce that element that one of the team members don't have a parachute, and then it's like, who is it? And then like they kind of like all sort of like stuck in this position of like, well, we all need to help each other because this is what I'd want to do, and also if I also want to be in Kingsman as well. What do you think of this whole sequence, dude?
I thought it was really good. It kind of, I know this is going to seem so dorky. It reminded me of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, when they're all jumping out at the beginning. Oh my God,
that's starting?
Yeah, that's all I could think of, like, right off the bat. Like, no, I always enjoy scenes with skydiving. I've never actually been on a plane, but I do want to go skydiving. I actually want to.
Whoa. You've never been on a plane?
Never been on a plane. Never been on a bus. Never been on a train. I'm taking an Uber a couple times, you know.
What? Are you kidding me?
Farthest I've ever been away from Tennessee is Florida. It's like a 12-hour drive.
Oh, my God. I just died inside, dude. I love travel.
Yeah. No, I don't. Like there's a handful of places I want to go see, but like, honestly, I'm not a big, I'm kind of a hermit. I don't really go anywhere. So like, I've always got stuff going on. Like I'm playing music or I'm doing a podcast and I do stuff that occupies my time, but I'm not like, I just want to go to Florida to look at it. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't really care. Like, eventually, as I get older, I probably will, but it's also a time and money thing. We've got a dog as well, so it's kind of like, well, we have to find a hotel that let us bring in the dog, and they're going to charge us more if you fuck something up, and blah, blah, blah. But we're actually looking at a trip to Universal Studios in Orlando.
Oh, nice.
Here in the next couple of months. Pretty cool. We won kind of like a raffle thing at a Comic-Con. We got like an 80% discount or something like that. I don't know. It's pretty cool. We've got a book all over shit, but I've always wanted to skydive just to say, yeah, first time I got on a plane, I just jumped out. Just the first time got on a plane, it's like, yeah, it's not for me. Just like fly off.
Dude, some of my mates have done skydiving before, and I'm just like, I couldn't do that, man. I would piss myself on the way down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to start raining. Someone's going to start thinking it's raining on their fucking house, on their roof, and it's just my piss.
It's like Chronicle. There's just a fucking plane coming at you.
Right, exactly. And then, like, once I start shitting, they're going to think it's like hailstorms. Like, you know what I mean? I can't do it.
I can only tuck myself aerodynamically so much.
Right, exactly.
Like squeezing real hard.
Fuck that, dude. Honestly, just fuck that. Like, but this is so well done. Like, it looks like they've shot it practically. Like, there's a lot of GoPro work here, it looks like. And then obviously, like I said, Merlin reveals that one of them doesn't have a parachute. Again, Jackman's score really highlights this scene, man, and really pumps up the intensity of it. I do like that Eggsy is so quick to come up with a plan. Like, he's pretty clever. He's pretty, quick-witted. The person on the right is the one who grabs the one who pulls the parachute, essentially. But yeah, it ends up being Eggsy and Roxy. They crash land down to Kingsman, and it's revealed that Eggsy had a parachute the whole time. And Merlin was up to one of his fucking jokes. I love that reveal, dude. Come here, let me whisper it in your ear. I love it. Love the reveal.
You need to get that chip off your shoulder. I'm like, it's fucking good, man. I really, really dug that.
It is. Hey, Colin, do you like this movie, though? You think it's a piece of shit, though, don't you?
For the most part, it's a piece of shit, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought,
Even a piece of shit has a speck of corn in it every now and then, you know what I mean?
I've never heard that before. That's fucking great.
Take that and put it in your pocket, young man.
Put the piece of corn in my pocket?
Yeah.
All right.
Sir, do you have change for a 20? Be like, no, hold on. You pull stuff out of your pocket and you're like, hold that. And it's just a piece of shit with like a tooth of corn sticking out of the side.
Oh, man. All right. And then we get to one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, dude. This is Merlin meeting with Valentine. Mr. DeVere! It's a pleasure to meet you. By the way, man.
Merlin?
Oh, sorry. Fucking Harry. Harry meeting with Valentine.
Get your movie right.
God damn it. I'm all over the place, dude. I'm so sorry. I'm sick, too. I'm under the weather.
Of course you are.
Cut me a fucking break. Mr. DeVere, it's a pleasure to meet you. So we did talk about his accent and his lisp, but so Jackson is actually pulling this off a lisp that he used to have in childhood. Like, this is...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was this severe, but this is, like, he wanted to have, like, a kind of like a physical sort of, like, detraction for Valentine, and that's where he got it from. That's what he used to talk
That's interesting.
like. Yeah. But I do like this, man. Like, this is Valentine and Harry Hart meeting. Obviously, I had my people look into your affairs, and same pretty old money you're from. How'd your folks make it? Property, mostly. Property in the markets. Nothing questionable, if that's your concern.
I love that painting that he has of the revolver. I'm like, that's cool. I dig
badass.
that.
Yeah, it's this whole house, dude. This whole property looks fucking awesome. Looks like Tony Stark's mansion.
Well, yeah, it's all cool until fucking you end up meeting the AI from Ex Machina in the basement. Like, this totally gives me like an Ex Machina vibe.
Oh, totally, absolutely, man. I hope you're hungry. I'm famished. And I love Gazelle walking in with the food trolley. I love the music, just kind of like making it seem sinister as shit. Opens it, and it's fucking McDonald's.
That was weird.
Yeah, but like, honestly, what a way to like subvert the audience's expectations. You think these guys are going to sit down and have the most fucking, like, luscious, gorgeous, the best culinary trait of all time, and it's revealed to be McDonald's.
Right. It's kind of like Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels wearing the tuxes to that gala in Dumb and Dumber. Like, it's kind of like just a play on the whole thing. Like, I was like, oh, okay, that's funny. I can dig that.
It absolutely is. And you can tell, man, this is Matthew Vaughn just having just the time of his life with it, too. Like, this whole scene here. I love the Big Mac, please.
And you get some, let's be honest, some great product placement in there as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure McDonald's, pretty penny. Great choice, but nothing beats 2 cheeseburgers with secret sauce. Goes great with this 45 Lafitte. A classic pairing. And may I suggest Twinkies in a 1937 Chateau for pudding. I like it. They get down to talking. Essentially, they're talking about Professor Arnold, who always said, humankind is the only virus cursed to live with the horrifying knowledge of its host's fragile mortality. Not a lot of people knew about him. And then Valentine gets into this whole spy movies conversation, right? You like spy movies, Mr. DeVere? But
right, I mean, he knows, right? Oh, Matt, he already knows when he meets him at the door that he's a spy.
Yeah, he knows for sure. He's because he's seen him explode. Hasn't he seen? Yeah, on camera.
No, I think the Kingsmen have the camera that show Mark Hamill. I didn't know. Well, no, I guess maybe the armed guards that were shooting at him probably got a good look at him.
But I mean, like he does know him for sure because it's like not a lot of people knew about him. So I mean, come on, like what are we doing here? Like we're talking plot of this movie. Like, come on, dude, where are we? But I love like, you know, the whole love of the James Bond franchise is, you know, written into the script. I love that both of these guys wanted to be, when they were younger, they wanted to be the polar opposites of what they are now. I do love that part of it. Oh man, when I was a kid, that was my dream job. Gentleman spy.
Why'd you sound like Quagmire? You know, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a spy. All right.
I'm trying to do my best fucking black voice. Not working out too well.
No, Jesus, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how much longer I can do this anymore. No, I'm just kidding. Just quit in the middle of the
double
podcast.
Feature is done, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what I've always wanted to hear when a podcast starts? Someone's like, "Hey, you know, I'm here talking about this." Zoheb, how are you doing? Terrible. And it's just like, oh. All right, because you can't not talk about it, but you can't move. You know, you can't just ignore it. Like,
we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, somebody be like, "Well, my wife died, and my kids." All right, that's cool. Anyways, in this other, you know,
Kingsman. Let's talk Kingsman. Dude. Okay. You know what? It is such an eye-rolly line, but I love it so much. And thank you for such a happy meal.
Yeah, it's kind of, but what are you going to do? I dug it.
I dug it, man. It just like, it's coming from Colin Firth, and it's so straightforward. I love it. Gazelle, want me to follow him? Nah, I put a nano tracker gel in the wine. We'll know his every move for the next 24 hours. Finally find out who he's working for. And then Harry meets with Arthur. Valentine didn't let me out of his sight, blah, blah, blah. And then they get into this, they use the enhanced thing that's in every fucking movie, but it works here because it's a spy movie. Southglade Mission Church is a hate group based in Kentucky. Oh, yeah. Here we go. America.
Oh, dude, this is like where I work. If I drive 5 minutes up the road from where I work, I am in Kentucky.
Really?
I am that close. Like like a lot of people would think like I'd be closer to like Memphis or Knoxville or Chattanooga or something like in Tennessee. No, much closer to Kentucky.
Can you give me some fucking chicken,
dude? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's all the same shit. Anyways, it's all like horse meat. But it's kind of crazy because, you know, I think this is ripping on Westboro. You ever hear about this?
It has to be.
Which, did you ever see Red State, Kevin Smith?
No, I do want to though.
It's good. It's so crazy because, you know, I'm not like huge Kevin Smith, but it's so weird that I've seen it and you haven't. That's so odd. You know, that'd be like you seeing just some John Carpenter movie before me.
Well, dude, I was saying on our last upcoming attractions episode, like I was just like, man, like Kevin Smith, like he will be the first to tell you that he does not make good movies, but apparently that is a really good movie.
No, I dug the hell out of it.
Yeah. And then we kind of like get a look in on like this whole sort of like prison that Valentine has built in under his house, right? Tough shit, bitch.
Yeah, it was definitely giving me some Stranger Things 3 vibes.
Oh, good pull, dude. I didn't peg that. And with that, dude, what do you say we take a break right here?
That works for me, bud.
Fuck yeah. Guys, do not go anywhere. We'll be back with more Kingsman, The Secret Service. Well, look who made it this far into the episode. Just while we're taking a quick break here, we've got a few things that we just wanted to put out there for any newcomers, or if you're not part of our growing community, maybe this could benefit you too. Firstly, we just want to let the newbies know about our episodes and the way Midnight Double Feature currently is structured. As you know, right now you're listening to one of our feature presentations. When we started the podcast, we basically built the show around our feature presentations. These are movies that we choose to cover and basically go through everything in the movie that's worth talking about sequentially. These episodes are generally longer, and we're definitely looking at ways to spice up our feature presentations by hopefully getting guests on. We also have our upcoming attractions episode. Typically, these come out during the week and are much more shorter than our feature presentations. These are hosted by Matt Vell hour and basically consists of a conversation between Matt and I about any movie news that's worth talking about, quick reviews of movies that are out of the cinema, and other hijinks. Finally, we have our special features. These are usually one-off special episodes that are mostly experimental and don't really have any specific definition. They could be a sit-down with a cast or crew member, a conversation between the hosts, or just a straight-up different thing that might not even relate to film. Before I let you get back to the episode, I just wanted to thank our listeners and supporters. We definitely couldn't have done any of this without your guys' constant support. If, for some reason, you're not a part of our growing community, head to our socials. We've got 2 pages on Facebook, Midnight Double Feature, which is our main page and has our formal announcements, and we also have the After Party, which is where we post memes, news, and teasers of what's to come on Midnight Double Feature. We're also on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. You can also send us an email if you have any grievances or would like to let us know what we're doing wrong. That's midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, guys. Back to the show. G'day guys, we are back. We're freshly squeezed, ready to dive right back into Kingsman, the Secret Service, not the Golden Circle. I was about to say the Golden Circle. That is not the good one.
You twat.
Yeah, is it twat or twat? It's twat, right?
I like twat.
I like twat as well. Fucking British.
You fucking twat.
Yeah, twat. All right, now that we've called the entire audience vaginas, let's move into this bitch. We're seeing Valentine's SIM cards being rolled out to everyone to purchase. We see Eggsy's mother purchasing one and his friends, yada yada yada, right? And basically the only 3 recruits remaining left in Kingsman now are Eggsy, Roxy, and pre-Cyclops, right? Charlie.
Yeah. Charlie.
Yeah. And Merlin walks in, says that they have a party. He gives them 3 envelopes, and they each pull out a photo of this beautiful, beautiful girl. I love Roxy, like kind of like revealing hers, like right at the end. Oh, it's going to be an interesting night. Essentially, they have to seduce this woman. Cut over to this party, dude. I love this transition, right? Like Roxy's holding up the photo of the woman, and then it's like the camera pulls in to the photo, and it transitions to the party, like the still image of her. Do you know what I mean?
Right, like it locks on her face.
Yeah.
In that exact moment, and then the picture like starts moving, and the whole frame dissolves.
It's great.
Yeah, it's really good. And I don't want to jump. I don't want to jump too far ahead. But when they when they get their drinks and they basically get fucking like roofied, I just thought it'd be like hilarious if they woke up and it was just like, what's going on here? And they look up and it's fucking Bill Cosby. He's like, I put the roofie in your drink, and I eat Jello pudding pops, but I can't stop putting my dick where it doesn't belong.
I got the chloroform. Well, I just ended up sounding like Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin.
Some people like to call me Dr. Sleep.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. Yeah. You know that movie Dr. Sleep coming out with Ewan McGregor? Let's replace that with Bill Cosby.
We're really looking forward to that movie.
Me too, dude. I'm stoked. That looks so well directed. But anyway, they get fucking roofied by this creep. Dude, this actor, I've seen him before. Do you know what he's from?
Yeah, he's Joe Chill in Batman Begins.
He is. That's right. Because I couldn't put my finger on it, and like I knew it was something. His name's Richard Brake, and he's just again one of the most ugliest motherfuckers on the planet. Like anyway, yeah, I knew he was in something, but it's definitely Joe Chill for sure. Like you definitely, yeah. But I do love this. Like, they don't know that this is obviously a test. Eggsy gets tied down in front of the train question. My employer's got 2 questions for you, Eggsy. What the fuck is Kingsman? And who's Harry Hart? And he's just obviously not cracking, right? Again, another really awesome sort of like Kingsman scare tactic that I really dug. Did not expect this, but I love it. I love the tracks going into the ground, dude. Like that shit's cool.
Oh yeah, I really dug that. I was wondering, I was like, how are they gonna get out of this one? I thought the train was going to be like an illusion or something.
Yeah, I like that it's kind of like still like old school tech that they're using. But anyway, Harry tells Eggsy well done, congratulations. I love Eggsy. How did the others do? Roxy passed with flying colours. Charlie's up next. Want to watch? And Charlie just like immediately cracks. It's just like, I'll tell you whatever the fuck you want.
This guy's the worst.
He's the worst.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Somebody like this working for a top secret government, like Jesus, how did he even make it this far? He folds like a deck of cards stacked by like a kid with polio. Like, it's just like this fucking, he's nothing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, how the fuck did he make it this far? Like I would figure this would have been one of the first things they did, like the psychological like torture. I was like, all right, they're gonna like waterboard him, or they're gonna hook her titties up to like a car battery or something. Like, but they never did anything like that. I was like, oh, that's weird. I figured they'd torture him. You know?
You just want to see titties hooked up to a car battery.
It'd be so funny if it was like this crazy, like, oh wow, it's a beautiful set of tits, and you pan up and it's like Charlie's head, like, oh wow, he's got man tits. That's weird. Would have never guessed that.
Oh, I dig it. But I love, dude. Literally, he says the Draco Malfoy line, right? Wait till my father hears about this.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, Merlin tells oh, you know what? That's actually the first time that we find out that Charlie is Arthur's champion, right? Like Arthur is the one that's supporting him.
Right.
Yeah. I dug
right,
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool reveal. And then we get there's this nice little moment in between Eggsy and Harry in Harry's office. And it's just like these it's plastered with these irrelevant like newspaper covers. Page ones, essentially, front pages. And Eggsy's like, what the fuck are these? Why is this relevant? But I love the explanation. Like, I love that it's like, just this is a reminder that the world don't know what the fuck we're doing behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And like, if they knew, this is kind of like that Men in Black thing where it's just like, you know, ignorance is bliss kind of thing.
No, yeah, I really dig it. The fact that it's something, you know, kind of right off the bat, look. Like, right off the top of it, it's something so insignificant, but it's the stuff that's right in front of you. You know, like, well, it's funny, the reason why they actually go through a tailor to, you know, to get, I guess, get down to their HQ or whatever. They did that in World War I and World War II,
yeah,
I think. They were actually fronts for I guess, like, of like a command center or something like that.
Yeah. Exactly, and I'm pretty sure that'll be explored in the prequel that's coming up as well. Cut over to Valentine. He's using the biometric hand scanner. This is a very dangerous machine. I love it. And then Harry takes Eggsy to go get his suit, right? Are you going to teach me to talk properly like My Fair Lady? No. Being a gentleman has nothing to do with one's accent. It's about being at ease with one's skin. As Hemingway said, oh, fuck, I fucked up the quote.
God damn it.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me find it. Hold on. As Hemingway said, there is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. I dig it. I dig it a lot. One does not use fitting room 3 when one is popping his own cherry. And then this is essentially the kind of like, let's break down the gadgetry. This is the kind of like, in every Bond movie you get the Q moment. The moment where Q is showing Bond like the whole, like, this is your gadget support system. This is what we have. Love the hand grenades. Love the love the watches. I love the shoes. The tipped with poison, dude. Love it all. Obviously, Oxford's not brogues. Again, pretty cool. What do you think about this whole sequence?
Yeah, I really dig it. Well, especially when he he's like, now, can you give me your best impression of a German diplomat? he just does the Heil. He's like, no. like, but the way that he says no is just kind of like, oh, God. Like, dude, you dumbass. Like, that's so insensitive. he like feels bad for him. No, I dug all this, especially, you know, him picking up the lighter and he's saying like, oh, what is this? Electrocute somebody? No, don't be ridiculous. It's a hand grenade. I like the conciseness of everything, how tight and efficient, a knight's suit is like his actual armor. And I thought that was really cool. I I think there's so much shit because there's so many knickknacks and stuff. You know, you've got cufflinks and you can have like a pocket watch and all that stuff can be utilized and turned into something seems like so insignificant and so small, but is actually, you know, quite handy in a pinch. Well, that's the whole thing I like about these. Is like, it's not Rambo. You're not in there to shoot people. Like, you're not in there to kill every single person. This is espionage. This is get in and get out. And if things go to shit, you get killed or you get out of there. Either way,
Exactly. And you know what I just kind of like realized as well? And you brought it up earlier, you brought up Men in Black, right? Like this whole kind of like the bones of this movie are very, very similar to Men in Black, that first one at least. Like you got Harry Hart, okay, who's very similar to Agent K, like Tommy Lee Jones's character, because Colin Firth is sort of like this older sort of like gentleman, but he's playing it so straight that the humor kind of ends up working in its favor. Like what you just said, Colin, like as the example of like, when he does the Heil and he's just like, no, Eggsy. You know what I mean? He's playing it so straight that it kind of ends up being funny, and it kind of ends up being like, I have like no sense of humor, but I will turn this into something funny. And like that's kind of what I get. But then it's also like he's recruited this street tough kid, again, like Will Smith's character Jay in Men in Black, to become something better, essentially, to become part of like a secret organization. It is very, very Men in Black. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, also based on another comic.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Shut up! You did not, you fucking dick. But that technology's caught up with the world, right? They look over to the iPads and shit. I love that part of it too. Again, very Men in Black. This gentleman's just finished, and out walks Valentine in a penguin suit. Right? I love the New York Yankees hat with the suit, with the tux.
Right, so him showing up here is just, I guess, him telling him like, "Hey, I know where you're at." Right, it's not really it doesn't feel like a friendly visit,
Right, it's a big dick energy move. Like it's like this is what I'm capable of. But yeah, my people will be getting in touch really soon. I guarantee it. And of course, Harry tells Valentine, "This is where you should go to get your top hats, and in that top hat is a tracker." Right? Oh, there's a tracker and a microphone. This, I like it. It seems it's a little whack.
Well, yeah. Well, that and like he doesn't expect that. He doesn't see that coming. Like he just did it to them. Wouldn't he be thinking, well, if I'm doing it, they're probably doing it. Like he kind of opens that door. It's like, that's odd. Like I would have preferred if it were something, something maybe they injected him with, or not like, hey, I made this thing for you, and in no way, shape, form, or fashion should you cut into it and look. Like, it's a little okay. I gotta wave the wand of disbelief.
Right. Like I just thought it was a little weird, and like the way it's kind of like shown too. Like the camera pulls in on his hat, but we never see any gadgetry. Like, is it in the paintwork? Like I don't know.
Fuck if I know.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, what did you think of the pug being named JB and it being named after Jack Bauer and not James Bond or Jason Bourne?
Oh, that's great. That's fucking hilarious.
Right? Good stuff. I love how Michael Caine is just like, oh, of course. But then, like, dude, this is the shoot the dog moment, right? This is just like, holy fuck. This is awesome.
Well, I thought about... He said shoot the dog. He didn't say kill the dog. He said shoot the dog. So it's like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to shoot this dog in the foot. Or do something like shoot it in the leg or something where it's like, oh, you don't have to fucking cock it and put it down the dog's throat and shoot him. You just have to, you just got to, wound him a little bit.
I think at that point, I'll just shoot to kill, to be honest.
Nah, man. With medical technology the way that it is, they can give that dog a pair of robo legs.
Yeah, I know, but like it'll be yelping, it'll be in pain. I'm just gonna be like, look, man, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna put you out of it. Like, I'm not gonna let you go through this pain any longer. Like, I'm just gonna mercy kill you.
Hear that, everybody? Zoheb Ali, dog murderer. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, man, did you look at the face of that pug dude? Like, it's just looking at him in his face, and I'm just like, I wouldn't be able to. I would do what Eggsy did, dude. I would like point the gun at him and then just be like, what the fuck did you just ask me to do, you fucking old cunt?
Well, yeah, and it's just a total be willing to sacrifice and sever any ties to like your personal life if need be. It's such a that's some fucked up psychological shit. And yes, kind of saved the best for last, really.
Right, and this is such a cool moment too, dude, because like it's like if you're looking at what Kingsman, like how they're testing these people, these students essentially, It's like we've given you so much time to develop a relationship with these dogs. You've raised them as your own, and now you have to shoot them. Like, you've got to sever everything that you've become, sever all of this relationship that you've developed with this dog. Basically, your fucking child. Did you like the Dexter plastic on the floor? Like, as the dog walks in.
No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's on the floor. It's like ready to be like, oh, don't spill any blood on my fucking hardwood floors, please. But Eggsy hears a shot from the next room, and assuming that Roxy's killed her own dog, and he leaves, right? Essentially, he goes home, says hi to his family, sees the nice fucking shiner on his mum's face, right? Jesus.
Yeah, honestly, it even surprised me that was the same actress from the beginning. I was looking and I was like, oh, fuck. For some odd reason, my mind just like blanked. And I was like, oh, no, that's not the same woman. I'm like, wait, no, yeah, that totally is. And it really threw me off to do it. She does a great job, and their makeup costuming department does a good job of making her seem so disheveled and like the complete opposite of what she was at the beginning of the movie. I think they do a great job with that.
They do, and they absolutely do. But Eggsy gets so fucking pissed off, he takes Harry's car and goes to confront Dean. As he goes to get out of the car, he winds up the window and gets automatically rerouted to Harry's house. I love Dean just like outside. He's like, "Go on, you got no bollocks. Come back when you've grown a pair."
What's it called, Muggsy?
Oh yeah, Muggsy. What the fuck? Okay,
I'm a Google it.
Yeah, Google it while I just But essentially, Harry and Eggsy have this conversation about Harry's pissed. He's like, "You threw away everything for a fucking dog." Eggsy's just like, "Well, what the fuck? You shot your own dog?" And he's like, "No, I have to." He's like, "Oh, well, I like the reveal actually of the dog." What did you think about that?
No, yeah, I dig it a lot. This is where I thought he was going to say, "Oh, I just wounded him." You know, like we didn't have to kill him. You just have to. You know, there's always a kind of like a way through their test. It seems like it's kind of like Will Smith. You know, he shoots that girl instead of all the other monsters because it's like kind of like his, you know, like
his logic.
Right, his logic that still gets to the correct conclusion. So I thought, okay, you say shoot, not kill, I'll shoot it. And that's what I honestly thought Colin Firth was going to say. But then he's like, oh, it's just blanks in the gun. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, well, he pulled the trigger. I mean, he was intentionally going to kill the dog, right? If even he didn't know there was going to be a blank in there. But yeah, he brought it home. It lived for another 11 years, and he had it stuffed, right? And this is where you find out that the girl that died back in the underwater sort of like room, she's now working in the tech department in Berlin, and they get a call from Merlin, right, saying that Valentine is on his way to the church. This is where shit gets crazy, dude. You want to talk about the church scene?
No, not really. No, I'm just kidding. I was looking at the definition.
If there's one scene that you want to talk about, it's going to be this.
Right, yeah. No, we'll just skip this one. I couldn't find a definition for Muggsy. I don't know. I guess it's just some kind of name. That's why I went kind of quiet there for a second. I was like, Muggsy. No, this scene, I mean, it's great. It's fantastic. The whole thing of this woman, bitch, who the fuck are you? Like, hey, what's your problem? Where do you think you're going? I'm a Catholic whore, currently enjoying conquest out of wedlock with my black Jewish boyfriend who works in a military abortion clinic. So, hail Satan and have a lovely afternoon, madam.
Oh, my God, dude. So fucking great. When I heard that, I was just like, because I had, like, when I watched this in the cinema, it came out, like, I think a couple of weeks after the US, and I was hearing a lot about this church scene, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be the church scene, and then, like, he said that line, and I was like, wow, is that kind of it? But that was still pretty awesome. Like, I took that to mean, like, what everyone was talking about, and, like, that whole fucking line as he walks off, and the woman chases him. Like, what the fuck?
Right, yeah.
That's weird in and of itself. And then, like, Valentine turns on the machine, turns it up, dude, and he just fucking pulls out his gun and just wastes her.
Yeah, I mean, fucking talk shit, get hit, motherfucker. Don't come up on me in the aisle in the house of God. I'll send you right back to him, motherfucker.
Talk to me about the scene, dude.
Okay, well, Colin Firth shoots some people, and then, no, I'm just literally.
Just quickly, I managed to just pause it, like, just literally, I'm watching it now. I paused it on the moment where he pulls the trigger on that woman, right? The muzzle flash comes from the underbarrel, so he used the shotgun cartridge on her.
Oh, God.
Dude, like, that is fucking awesome.
just see her head split in half. She looks like T-1000 in the elevator, when they shoot him and like, just split his head in half.
It's making that noise.
Yeah. But no, I mean, anybody who is forced to go to church as a kid, this is like fantasy porn. No, I'm just kidding. No, the whole thing is great because also you have Freebird playing the whole fucking time in a church in Kentucky, and I was thinking, some people would probably cry stereotypical or, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. This is not that far off. Like, trust me, this is like my backyard. There was actually like a preacher in like Knoxville or something. And he was preaching about, why do you think we have this terrorist stuff going on? Because these homosexuals and lesbians want to go off and get married. And I mean, dude, and of course, the church kicked him out like immediately. And I want to say he was like a security officer, or like a police officer or something. And he was like forced to resign. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, what a fucking moron. I mean, I don't think if you got up and walked away, they'd try and, fucking go all like Wicker Man on you and have the whole town turn against you. The great part is just the utilization of all of the gadgets. The one where he puts the grenade in the guy's pocket and he slams his head against the pulpit, and it's like I mean, it's a dummy or whatever, a very good looking dummy. But when he slams the head and the neck just like folds over on itself like a slinky,
yeah.
I was like, oh God, like that was fucking brutal. This reminds me of there was a set of these like internet games in the early 2000s. I think they were called like Madness or something. And you were just like this little gray guy that walked around shooting people, and you would just walk up and punch them, and your gun would get thrown to you, and you were just shooting around all the time. They're actually a lot of fun to play. I haven't played them in forever, but just the kind of fluid choreography of all these different like weapons and stuff going on, because it's nice where we don't. If it were like, all of these people are just trying to kill him, that's kind of a shitty scene to see him like fight 50 people off or whatever. But the fact that they're all fighting around him is what kind of sealed it for me.
It's awesome, dude. And like the sped up motion of it like captures the chaos of it all. Like the chaotic nature of it all, dude. Like everyone's just doing everything in the background, man. One of my favorite moments in this is like when that grenade eventually explodes and it just slows down to the slow motion. Like I love the sort of like juxtaposition of like the slow motion next to the really sped up sort of like hyper stylized action that's going on. One thing that I really love is the way he uses that knife, dude. That knife, he does those two quick stabs to that guy's abdomen, dude, and it's just like it's brutal. It's wild. This whole sequence is absolutely brutal and over the top and amazing. It makes me sound like such a fucking psychopath, but I love it and I'm here for it. How he strips that gun and he just stabs it in that guy's neck.
Well, yeah, and he's like a surgeon, man. Like he's so tactical with his shit, and using the. I guess it's some kind of like lighter torch. Like, I mean, it's I've seen lighters that are like similar to that, where it's actually like a torch that burns. Like you can heat up like a nail with it. Like you could turn this nail into like a glowing thing. See him like torch that guy in the eyes and like shock somebody with a watch and shit. Like it's a guy that he's really going like all out.
Right, exactly, and he can tell how proficient he is, how much training he had. Again, man, and I also love the way it's shot as well. The way Matthew Vaughn decided to shoot this, it's like long takes. Like you see pretty much every movement. Like I know that it is like super sped up, but if you watch it a few times, you'd notice a lot of like subtle things going on. It's very, very well done, and I'm sure it must have been like super well rehearsed as well. Because there's so many extras and so many things happening in this at the same time. But Harry walks outside, gets confronted by Valentine. He says he had no control, and Harry says, "Well, this is what's going on. This is the wave that was emitted, transmitted by those Nazi SIM cards, right? Do you know what this is like? It's like those old movies we both love. And now I'm gonna tell you my whole plan." And I'm going to come up with some absurd and convoluted way to kill you, and you'll find an equally convoluted way to escape. And he's just like, sounds good to me. Well, this ain't that kind of movie. Just shoots him in the fucking eye.
Definitely didn't see that coming. Because I'd seen posters for the second one. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, this doesn't really hold any weight for me. You know, I was like, whatever. I mean, and really, it's kind of, I don't know. I think that's kind of something where it's such a big deal in this first one that I wish they had just kind of like left that out of the marketing, because I've never seen it, but I know that this death doesn't really hold any weight. And it's cool. I love it. It kind of reminds me of Logan, where Dr. Rice or Dr. Price, I can't remember his name, is talking, and Logan just shoots him in the fucking head, like right in the middle of him talking. I think that's so great. I've always really enjoyed seeing something like that's what I'm saying, like, not the standard shit. Like, you know, when you start a podcast, hey, how you doing, man? Fucking pretty bad, dude. How you doing? Like, you can't just, like, it breaks the formula of something that almost gets, like, monotonous because you take it for granted. Right. And it's always the same thing. You know, because he's done this several times before where he's had the exact tool or did all the exact shit that he needed to, and it was just this pointless, point-blank kind of death. That's the crazy part. It's just this heroic, like, kind of thing, you know?
No, right, absolutely. And like I 100% did not see it coming, dude. Like, I was just like, wow, because in my eyes, like, he was the lead in this movie. Like, I know it is supposed to be Eggsy, but like, it's also like this. Harry Hart is to me, the most interesting part of this movie. Like, besides, you know, if you were to take the technical style of the movie away, the way, like, Matthew Vaughn, like, film stuff, like, you take all of that away, the most interesting character in this movie is Harry Hart. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I really like Merlin a lot just because I think he's kind of mysterious. You don't really know anything about him beyond that.
Yeah.
Same thing. I mean, same thing for Harry. I almost said Henry. The same thing for Harry, because you don't really know his full. Like, I love when they're sitting in the pub and he's like, "Oh, you work with my dad," and blah blah, you know, and he's like, "Oh, it's classified. I can't tell you anything beyond that."
Right.
I really dig that. The whole, you know, he's a man who lives a life of danger.
He's an international man of mystery. Yeah, man. Like, that's why I found it so surprising, because to me it was just like, wow, you just killed off your main fucking most interesting character. Wow, what the fuck? What's gonna happen now?
Well, and I was really waiting for him to pop back up towards the end of the movie because this didn't have like the like, I think a fair comparison to this would be something like protege mentor gets killed kind of thing. It's like Django Unchained,
right? And
that's real, like, it's slow motion and there's like doves flying in the background and sparklers being you know, just all types of crazy shit going on when Schultz bites the dust. So, and this was just so anticlimactic. It was unceremonious. There's just like, just bang, and that's it. Like, wow, no music, no like screaming, just nothing. And I was like, damn, that's crazy.
That's why I loved it so much back then, dude. Like, before the trailers for The Golden Circle came out, I was like, that is such a cool film death. Like, you know what I mean? And I remember I remember when the trailers for The Golden Circle came out and you get shots of like Harry Hart, and I'm just like, what is this? What is happening? Do you want me to tell you how he comes back in Golden Circle? Because you probably won't watch it. It's not that great. And look, spoilers for The Golden Circle.
Yeah, full. Yeah, I already like Wikipedia'd it and saw it. I was like, oh, okay. How does he come back? Because that's all I really give a shit about.
It's not great. It's not fantastic. It feels like a major retcon. So immediately as Valentine leaves the church, there is a helicopter that lands, and in that helicopter, I believe, is Merlin, if I remember correctly. I only watched that movie once. And they have like a gadget, and what they do is they kind of like saran wrap this thing around his head, and it like pulls the bullet out of him, and it starts to like heal his like eye and like his internal sort of like veins and organs and shit. It's whack, dude. It sounds as whack.
Yeah,
it is whack. And when it happens, no, go.
I wish I'd gotten my yoga mat out and had a couple of good warm-ups before I went for that kind of fucking stretch. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
It is. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, the Golden Circle is very, it goes right into like the heavy gadgetry use, and I think it goes a bit too far at points, and like that is just like a major example, dude. And like Harry Hart comes back and he's got amnesia and he can't remember who Eggsy is, and it's just so by the numbers, dude. And like, obviously by the end of it, like, he gets his memory back, and it's just like, oh, okay, so we're doing this. And it's just, Yeah, it's just totally not interesting, dude. And I wish Matthew Vaughn had just like left it alone, man. Like, because this is such a great film, Death, that I totally didn't see coming. And it, like watching it in 2014, it was just so like, what the fuck? But yeah, so everyone kind of like mourns in their own ways and blah blah. But I love like immediately fucking Valentine's just like, is he dead?
Yeah, she's like, yeah, that's kind of what happened when you shoot him in the face. He's like, it's like, oh man, complaints about killing Harry, but then she's like, all those people killed each other. It's like 100 people in there. You killed him. He's like, no, I didn't kill anybody. They killed themselves.
I love
they
the
were
logic.
fighting each other.
The logic that he applies is insane. But anyway, so Eggsy, has a fucking nice stiff drink, goes to visit Arthur. Dude, this conversation that Arthur and Eggsy have, as Eggsy's sitting down, he says, okay, did you catch the year of this drink?
Like 18 something?
1815. Can you imagine drinking anything that's 200 years old?
1815. Man.
This is an 1815 Napoleonic brandy. What the fuck?
Jesus, I wonder what the fuck that costs.
Right. And like, I just, like, I watched that this time around and I was just like, I can't imagine drinking anything that old, dude. Like, you know what I mean? But he says, yeah, we only drink it when we lose a Kingsman, blah, blah. But as he's talking, Eggsy spots the scar on the back of his ear, right? Like where they put the microchip in. Eggsy manages to distract him and he switches the cups around, obviously, blah, blah. And he kills him, right? Like that's kind of like everything that comes from this. Like it just goes to show like how proficient Eggsy is because he's got that straight level kind of like sleight of hand.
Well, yeah, I would have loved if as he gets the pen and he cuts the fucking the chip out of his head that he looks down and it just says birth control on it. He's like, oh fuck, like cut out Michael Caine's birth control. All of a sudden, I looked around. And I was having all these babies.
Why am I having Michael Caine's? I don't know. I can't do it.
Where's my rubber?
Michael Caine.
You've got to tie the Langford double.
The Langford double.
I love that when they go to see, he's like, you'll have to tell us how the trick is done. And he immediately like gets so defensive. He says something like, my life and my name are in there. It's so fucking funny. They're like, oh, we need to figure out who murdered this guy. Well, fuck you. I need my money.
I raised you since I was you was a baby, Master Bruce. Oh, Jesus.
Why do we fall?
You can't go.
What's the point of doing all these bloody push-ups? You can't move a log.
It was the size of a tangerine.
Dude, we used to prank call in high school. Me and my buddy Chris and some friends. Chris, who actually pretty much wrote our theme song. Chris, I've mentioned him several times on the show. And we would prank call on our lunches at school. And just, I remember calling one time as like Mrs. Doubtfire and Michael Caine. And I was like, I remember going like, do you have any tangerines? Like, yeah, yes. It was like a grocery store. She's like, yes, we have tangerines. She's like, well, I'm looking for a tangerine the size of a ruby or something like that. And I was like, because it just so happens to be that my testicles are the size of King Kong's knuckles, or the King Kong's knuckles happen to be the size of my testicles. And the woman was just like, what?
I think you've told that story on the podcast before. It sounds vaguely familiar.
Have we?
Yeah, but
dude, we would call places up like Walmart and be like, hey, y'all got one of them X stations? And they'd be like, this is a prank call. I'd be like, fuck you. And they'd hang up on us.
Also, that's racist. I don't know if that's
racist. No, that's not my one. I would call us like, hello, this is Mrs. Hugh Virginia Doubtfire. Do you have any massive tangerines, dear?
Oh, dear.
Like, I got some people fucked up with that one. Like, they're like, oh my God, like that's so high for your voice. It's like, not really. It's just,
that's awesome,
I'll be out in just a second, dear.
Fucking tits on fire. Oh boy. But anyway, so we get a flashback of Valentine telling you the part that you like, right? Like about the plan, about the fever.
Right.
Yeah. What'd you like about this? I dug this as well, by the way. The way he explains it, it's very succinct. It's very Thanos.
Yeah, it's very logical. I like that. I like the fact that he was trying to solve global warming realized that the global warming was just kind of the middleman, and it wasn't the end all be all where the paper trail ends here kind of thing. The logic behind it is what I really enjoy. I think that it's the act of it is. I think it's almost kind of genius into itself. If it were, like he said, hey, there's free cell phones and free Wi-Fi and free everything for life. Even if not every single person in the world got it, 'cause you have to assume some people don't. It's still, if you're in enough close proximity of this, so it's perfect, because he just realizes, like, yeah, I mean, literally the people who are buying these things and snagging them up, most of them are the reason why I'm doing this in the first place. So it's kind of like ironic in that way. He says all these people are just overpopulated, and I think he's, I don't know. I guess you'd call him crazy or psychopath or sociopath or whatever you want to call him, but he's not wrong.
Well,
really,
that's why I compare it to Thanos. Like, Thanos had the same sort of, like, the same mentality about it, but he's not wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, and that's what makes a compelling villain, in my opinion.
Right? No, exactly. It's kind of like, I can see your point. It's just your execution of it is what I have a problem with. Like,
right. And that execution, like that I'm 100% certain that element of it, like the way he goes about it, like, putting these microchips to kind of like send out a massive signal pulse to make people go crazy. I am 100% certain that is kind of like, it's inspired by how ridiculous Bond villains have their plans, like how absolutely ridiculous and far-fetched they used to be, and like they still are. Like, if you watch, I mean, like Casino Royale, right? Like, it's a very straightforward movie, but the villain's plans, like, it's very, like, convoluted, and it's very, like, there's so much room for error. Like, think about fucking Die Another Day. Like the guys, like, goddamn created a satellite which will reroute the sun's energy to melt the polar ice caps. Like, it's the same kind of, like, mentality.
Right, exactly. That's why I really, really love Asmodeus and Watchmen. That's kind of like one of my favorite, like, and here's my plan the whole time. I really enjoy that, because also part of Asmodeus's plan is they have to understand what he's done. So in order, they know that if they say anything, the repercussions of what will happen, and he knows that they'll understand that. That's actually probably my favorite, like, big plan reveal, like, ever in most of these movies that I've seen. There's only a few of them, maybe except for, like, the whole Kaiser Sose thing. I mean, that's just, God, that reveal just, I think, kind of blew everybody's minds.
Wait,
by the way,
are we allowed to talk about Kevin Spacey now again? We are, right? We good?
The thing that, you know what I hate is the guy who wrote that script, first script he ever wrote, Christopher McQuarrie, first script he ever wrote, and it's like, now he's got, his breakout his breakout is kind of anchored with Singer and Spacey on both sides. Like, fuck, man, that really sucks. By the way, that bottle, I just looked up. Apparently, there's a cognac that was Napoleonic era cognac that was sold for 220,000 pounds in England, which would be about $275,000 US,
which would be about 400,000 Australian, I think.
God, it's crazy.
That's fucking wild, dude. Yeah, but you know what else? That also kind of says that. I mean, I'm assuming Kingsman agents don't die willy-nilly, because if they're breaking that shit out, then yeah. But anyway, so Eggsy finds the coordinates to Valentine's secret base on Arthur's phone, and he gets together with Merlin, gets together with Roxy, and they head out. What did you think about the fucking? How cool was the jet coming out of the mansion? That reminded me of X-Men, dude.
Yes, for sure, 100%. That's exactly what I was thinking when I saw it.
Had to be.
So I'm glad you said X-Men too, by the way, because.
No, I just said X-Men 2, like T-O-O.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I just meant like X-Men 2, like T-O-O, not the second X-Men movie.
Right, yeah. I mean, either way, I'll take both. It's acceptable. Yeah. X2 is a fine film. God, I just forgot the fucking director's name.
Bryan
Holy
Singer.
Shit. No, of this movie.
Matthew Vaughn.
Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn said he's got a Beast script lying around that he wants to make. And I was like, ooh. Might not be Matthew Vaughn, actually. It's the editor. Sorry, it's his editor, I guess, says that they have a script lying around that they want to make for... and they also did the editing on X-Men 1... Yeah, did basically the guy who's edited all of the X-Men films has a script for Beast that he wants to get made. I'm like, please, for the love of God, that would be amazing. I love Beast. He's one of my favorite characters. I think he's so underrated, and he kind of, to be completely honest, he kind of gets the shaft on a lot of stuff. Like, Apocalypse, he got some decent fights. He's got some really cool moments in First Class, but I want to see that. Like, I want to see Beast have his Wolverine Berserker kind of moment. Like let the Mr. Hyde kind of take over the Dr. Jekyll. I want to see that so bad. I think getting that in a solo film would be really cool. And they're not rebooting it. It's not one about Cyclops or another one about Wolverine or so and so. It's like a character that's just maybe not as popular, but probably would be if they kind of, gave him the opportunity.
He's got some moments in Dark Phoenix, but don't watch that movie because I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. It is not a good movie. Actually, what's really funny is the reason why Matthew Vaughn made this movie and made it in 2014 because he was in line to direct Days of Future Past because he made First Class.
Oh, yeah.
He made First Class and then
makes sense.
Yeah, and then he was in line for Days of Future Past and he's like, man, like now someone's gonna fucking go out and make a fun spy movie, and I don't want that. So yeah. That's what happened. What would a Matthew Vaughn Days of Future Past would look like? Because I think Days of Future Past is my favorite X-Men movie, just personally.
Yeah, if you're talking about the group, like ensemble, I still have a big soft spot for the first X-Men. It's not better than Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past is just, man, that was just for something that hops between timelines and stuff. Right. It's so non-colluded. It's very easy to follow, and I really dug it. I enjoyed it quite a bit out of all of those. First Class is, I don't know, First Class is up there, but I feel like First Class has more heart, where Days of Future Past has just a better... I don't know. It's definitely got some heart, but you don't feel it as much as you do in First Class.
Right. There's a lot more oh shit moments in Days of Future Past. But anyway, we're getting off the fucking track, right. Man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. We went on a fucking tangent. Back to Kingsman, the Secret Service. Merlin's working on the chip that Eggsy got from Arthur, essentially saying that this was a failsafe, but it's also loaded with a explosive because Valentine didn't want anyone blabbing to anyone beforehand. They pull out this kind of like jetpack thing for Roxy with the two balloons that look like ball sacks.
Yeah, well, this was. Do you know what Ronald Reagan's Star Wars?
I didn't look into that. No, what do you have information on that?
Well, I mean, not anything pulled up. I believe it was actually a missile defense system, like satellite, that he wanted put into space. So if anybody launched a nuclear warhead, there would be the satellite out in space that would just shoot it down. And it's because it's got laser beams and shit like attached to it.
So this is real. That thing is real.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Star Wars program was like, I don't think it's still active, but yeah, that was like a big deal. Like when it first came out. Yeah, that's 100% real.
God damn. Fucking Reagan. Jesus. All right. Yeah. Eggsy fits into his suit. A bespoke suit always fits. Get dressed. Right? I love Valentine's speech. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with them? And he's like, oi! He gets on the microphone and he's like, y'all have a go. Why you all look so sour? But essentially, he tells people that this is the birth of a new age. This is the villain speech, right, that you get. This is all obviously intercut over everyone using their phones and shit. And he says, we should honor their sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. The human roles in saving the human race. This is where things kind of get a little bit muddled. So I'm going to try and take this as straight as possible. Hopefully, we'll work through it. But yeah.
Oh, by the way, yeah, it was called like the Star Wars whatever, now it's called SDI. The Strategic Defense Initiative was a proposed missile defense system intended to protect the United States from an attack by ballistic strategic nuclear weapons, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and submarine-launched ballistic missiles. The concept was first announced by Reagan in 1983. Reagan was a vocal critic of the doctrine of mutually assured destruction, which he described as a suicide pact. And he called upon the scientists and engineers of the U.S. to develop a system that would render nuclear weapons obsolete.
Jesus.
Right. Now, I don't know where it stands at now. I know it started as that Star Wars orbiting peace platform or whatever the fuck they called it. That might actually be what they call it in RoboCop. But it eventually got renamed to SDI in like 1993, and I'm not sure what it's doing now.
Yeah, I can't imagine it still looks that primitive, right? Because like that looks so old-fashioned. Like it's going to be some kind of like automated defense system for sure now. Like there's no way it's like that.
Nah, I doubt it. They got the fucking like the big ass heavy loader suit that Ripley's got in Aliens.
Right.
Like, dude, this is so the fuck.
Get away from her, you bitch. But yeah, so Eggsy and Merlin make their approach. I love the fucking SAM sites as they're making their way in. It's just getting like targeting them. I love Eggsy just like basically acting as what's the name here? Was it Chester King, right? Chester King.
Yeah,
and then he's like, "Oh, congratulations, you've been promoted from my pilot to my valet." And he's like, "You cheeky bastard."
Yeah, I love the mumbling. He fucking like mumbling to himself.
It's great. And then the platform takes the plane down to like this fucking parking garage that's just full of private planes. Like, damn.
Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, we get it. You're Steve Jobs.
Yep. Oh, well, actually, I don't think that's his, right? It's got to be everyone else's. Because if all these people are rich and successful.
Well, it's his parking garage, though, right?
Oh, yeah, but I thought you were talking about the planes being his.
No. I'm just like, wow, I've never seen a parking garage for jets in my life, let alone one that's underneath a underground bunker in the mountains. I was like, this is incredible.
Yeah. But you know what? Bond villain as shit.
Yeah, let me just warm up for this stretch.
Eggsy takes out this prime minister that we met earlier. Are you coming over there? Oh man, Eggsy takes out this prime minister that we met earlier using the watch and hacks into the mainframe. Meanwhile, Roxy's up there. One of the balloons explodes, but she manages to fire off the rocket. As Eggsy goes to leave the laptop, he fucking gets held at knife point by Charlie. This was cool. I was just like, they never brought in that Charlie character back again, but here he is, right? He's all Draco'd up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I like the fact that it was the one person there that could actually blow his cover.
Right.
Well, I was like, oh, that's nice. You know, because I mean, it makes sense. Like he was invited. Like he's mentioned his father in scenes before, and he's obviously like one of these rich snobby kids. So like, it makes sense.
Right. And he says, Valentine, I got a spy. And Valentine's like, oh shit, start the countdown. The Kingsmen are here. And he rushes his countdown back down to 2 minutes. Meanwhile, Eggsy tries to make his way back to the plane. There's a lot of like, action shit going on here. Like it's cool, dude. Like I like him like running through the sort of like, what is it? It looks like a cavern, like the cavern alleyways sort of thing. It looks cool. He makes his way back to the plane and, man, this is all again intercut with Roxy falling to Earth and everyone getting prepared for the countdown. You get that shot of the White House as well. Everyone down in the bunker in the White House too. Fucking Americans can't join us here in the snowy mountains. Have to be in their bunkers.
All right, everybody, one at a time. There's no need for pushing. Come on.
Can we kill all the white folk?
Now that's racist.
Oh well, whatever. It's in the vein of Key and Peele. I like the stunt work here though. As Eggsy's making his way through the caverns, he's using the pistol and he's like jumping on the walls and shit. It's cool.
Oh, this is a fucking GoldenEye mission if I ever saw one.
Totally,
in 64. Dude. I was like, this literally feels like the I think it's called Caverns. It's like a level towards the very bottom of the list of them.
Oh, absolutely, dude. And like I love like again Matthew Vaughn's like kind of like sensibilities during these action scenes. Like he's just like, because again, it's all sped up, but like when Eggsy does something of note, like a stunt, like he slows it down to slow motion. Like when he does that, like he lands backwards and he like props himself up and shoots backwards. I dig it. I love all of this. But as soon as the countdown reaches 1, because of course it has to be 1, Roxy's missile finds its target and blows up Valentine's satellite. But Valentine reroutes, right? He calls one of his Russian mates and he's like, "Oh yeah, can I piggyback? Can I get a piggyback? Oh, thank you."
Yeah, I mean, and I dig that because it makes, I mean, he's a billionaire and he's in cahoots with all these people and he's kind of sparing their lives, I guess, even though he's the one taking all of them, he's still extending the olive branch. So it makes sense. I mean, this guy's all powerful, all rich. I dug that it wasn't just like, oh no, my one satellite. Nah. It was like, no, let me just call up one of my boys real quick.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was initially disappointed. I was just like, oh, is that it? Like, really? Is that fucking all it takes? And then, yeah, again, uses resources and connections to fucking sort shit out. Eggsy gets back to the plane and Merlin tells him, dude, you got to get back out there because shit's still going wrong. And Eggsy's just like, are you taking the fucking piss? Essentially.
Yeah, that fucking term always threw me off. And I was like, oh yeah, taking the piss out of you. They're like, because I've heard, is that something that you guys say as well?
Yeah, taking the piss. Yeah, for sure.
Because I've heard that used a couple of different ways. Like I've heard taking the man, calm down, I'm just taking the piss out of you. Like I'm just busting your balls.
Yeah, that's the one that I know it for most. Taking the piss.
Okay, I couldn't. I figured that's what he was saying, but I was like, is he saying like, are you fucking kidding me, or is this just like a different kind of connotation to it? I couldn't really tell right off the bat.
Well, it's got like that's the meaning as well. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you taking the piss? Yeah. Like, it's more like you can use it like if someone tells you something that's so fucking out there and far-fetched that you just can't believe it, you can just be like, are you taking the piss? Like, are you serious? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just getting confirmation pretty much.
Culture Corner, midnight double feature.
The more you know. Dude, I should like fucking splice that together. Oh, man. But, yeah, so Merlin gets fucking cornered by a sea of, like, these white troopers, dude. Like, they're bringing the SAM sites.
Dude, Inception as a motherfucker, by the way. That's all I could think of.
Yeah, Inception as fuck, dude. Eggsy uses the umbrella. I like the idea of the umbrella, but, man, like, it gets kind of like superfluous really quickly, right? Like the guy just comes in with a sniper and just starts blowing holes in it. It's like, well, that's it, I'm done.
Right. Well, I dig it. I dig it strictly for the fact that it's like it's not just completely indestructible.
Right, I dig that too.
And I really dug that. Like those bullets, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're going to do a lot of damage, but it's just more of like a focused, powered like shot. And I really dug that. What I just thought would have been hilarious if they start shooting for his head and torso, and he pops the umbrella, and he's like, ha ha, and they just turn his feet to like shredded paper. Like all of them aim for just his 2 feet and just annihilate it.
They just hold down circle or B and just like fucking go prone and just like start firing at his legs.
Right, like just imagine watching like a pair of legs just dissolve, like somebody erased them with a fucking pencil eraser.
I dig it. Eggsy gets cornered, both sides by the soldiers, and he says, "Roxy, I need you to call my mom. Blah blah. Essentially, protect my sister, kind of thing, right?" But then, like, okay, dude, one of my favorite moments in the movie, Merlin. Remember those implants you said were no use to us? Any chance you can turn them on? And man, this begins one of the most visually impressive sequences in the entire movie. What did you think about this, dude? Fuck off! Right. I knew it. I knew it could go either way. I was just like, oh no! I was so in on this, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's cool. I'm kind of torn. It's like, well, yes, it's visually striking and it's cool. Is most of this digital or is a lot of this practical?
No, this part has to be digital, dude. Like this, it has to be, it must be, because like it's also a way to circumvent the violence as well. Like you could show this just being like a sea of fucking red that's exploding, but in the style of the movie and in the style of like the what they're going for here, I think this absolutely 100% works.
I think it is cool. I just like the part where they're like in the war room, and it's like the synchronized like popping of heads. Like it literally looks like synchronized swimming at some point. I think that this movie would have been prime for a fucking like 3D release. You know what I mean? Like especially when you like the very up close action. We see like the lighter grenade getting thrown like overhead, and it's a real slow down that kind of feeling when it gets thrown.
Yeah.
I think it visually it does look cool. It's just like I don't know, like it's neat. That's about it for the 30 seconds it lasts. Like, yeah, that's cool. That's neat. But I mean, you know me, I would have much preferred just fucking paint those walls red.
I know. But then I mean, it's just like you could see that in other things. I mean, I don't know. It's like that. The first thing that comes to my head in terms of like just a massive explosion of violence is, you ever seen Cabin in the Woods?
A long time ago.
Oh, okay. There's a moment in that where like the elevators just open up and like everything just fucking explodes into chaos, and there's just like a sea of like red. And I'm just like, this took it in just such like a fun and visually striking direction that I really kind of hadn't seen before. So I was just like, honestly, hats off to that. Like, hats off to you, Matthew Vaughn, for doing something sort of original in a movie that is kind of like a love letter to spy movies. To like pretty much everything that we've seen before up to this point is kind of has already been done, except this. Like, I'm 100% on board with that for sure. You can fuck off too, Colin. But yeah, essentially everyone's head blows up, and then we meet Princess Tildy, who says, if you save the world, we can do it in the asshole. All right.
She's a lady. Whoa, whoa, whoa. She's a lady. She's hot. She is hot. I mean, like, I swear to God, when I first saw her, I was like, is that Amy Adams in Vice? Like, for like 2 seconds, I was like, looks straight up like fucking like her character in Vice. But no, I think it's great. I think it's, especially after seeing all these people get their heads like blown off, which is comedic in its own way, like the way it's filmed. But it's a really good, just like very blunt and kind of like, because this movie doesn't really have any of that nasty, like dirty kind of, not safe for work like type humor. So it's like, just to see one of those lines get dropped in something like that, I'm like, wow,
yeah.
That's not what I was expecting. I give it points for that, for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. And I've seen a few complaints about this specific part, and like we'll get to a comment at the end that like they're not on board for it, but like I love this dude, like, because think about every Bond movie, right? Like, the guy sleeps with multiple women in every fucking Bond movie. So this is just kind of like this Kingsman's own sort of like version of like let's take this and just multiply it by like 1 million. Like, this is not what the audience were expecting, but again, this movie is full of things that either A, I'm expecting, and B, it's completely subverted at the same time, and that's 100% what this is. I was not ready for this, but I loved it. I laughed my ass off the first time I heard it, because the first time I heard it, I was just like, did she just offer him anal sex? Is that what I just heard? And then it's just like, that is what I heard. And I couldn't stop laughing. I just found this so hilarious, dude. And I felt like a 12-year-old laughing at it because it's an anal sex joke, but like, it was just fucking hilarious. Also, I hope he wore rubbers.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when he's like, oh, if I come back and I get a kiss, haha. I was like, kind of an ass clown. And she's like, oh, well, I'll fucking let you ram it up my ass. She's like, oh, all right, calm down there, lady.
Right, yeah. And the way she says it too, like, she's so like, we can do it in the asshole. And I was like, oh.
Oh, boy, I'll pay you 2 shillings to fill my hole for your dick milk.
You ever had your shit pushed in? But essentially,
and her cell, I'm just going to say it now, her cell, not what I thought the inside of that thing was going to look like. It's kind of plush. There's like a nice couch with some fashionable throw pillows. I was like, wow, that's not what I thought was in there. I thought it was going to be like just stainless steel and like a fucking cot,
Well, I mean, like, this is the facility of a guy who owns a parking lot for planes. I think he can afford a few cushions in these cells.
Yeah, it's true.
But anyway, Eggsy makes his way back to the main room. Did you notice? Okay, so Call of Duty has ruined me for life because now I can recognize guns like this, the Scar L or the Scar H. One of my favorite guns in Modern Warfare 2, dude. Fucking awesome.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one. I think my favorite's probably the FAL, the FAL.
The single fire one?
Yeah. Like anything that's got like that M1 Garand kit, the Car 98, where I can just pop multiple shots off and like semi-automatic. Oh, dude, I was drilling. I got a nuke playing free for all on like Nuketown or something because I had a FAL. I had a FAL with a noob tube on it and like a shotgun or something, and I just fucking. I never got to a point where I ran out of so much ammo. I had to start picking up somebody else's gun to shoot people with. I was like, this is insane. Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh god, a P90. Oh god, the hell is that? I got no range.
The P90, the alien looking gun. Yeah, dude. Like those single fire guns took so much practice. I remember. I was just like, I remember when I picked one up the first time, I got fucked up, and then M16 as well, which is burst fire. I got fucked up. My favorite gun in Modern Warfare 2 was definitely the ACR, dude. That was basically like a sniper, like an automatic sniper. It was so accurate, and I just love that gun. But anyway. Eggsy ends up firing at at Valentine and Gazelle up there. Dude, I love Gazelle jumping out of this window, dude, and just firing that pistol. This shot is just so over the top and just amazing and filled with so much sauce, and I am here for it at this point, dude. Like, I'm just like, oh fuck, they're gonna square off. This is gonna be sick.
Now, see, I don't mind like the scene itself. I do feel like this is where it gets. I get it. It's the big epic. Climactic battle, but yeah, is this fucking shit drawn the fuck out, man? Like all the slow-mo, like when they're jumping up and coming towards each other and it's all in slow. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. Like James Cameron said it really well where he's like, I want to use slow-mo not on action. He's like, I want that to be like on a reveal. Like when, when the T-800 turns that corner in T2 and Sarah Connor sees him and she's just like she's just frozen. And I think it's great in moments like that, but when you have too much slow-mo and just like action-y kind of stuff, it's like, I get it, this movie is very sleek and it's very tight and efficient and does great stuff with its choreography, but I felt like the previous fights were way better than this one. And I was like, this is just, I don't know, this whole seems just kind of been there, done that typical kind of big boss fight. I did like the shoe knife though, that was cool. I always like, little setup, little payoff, I always kind of dig that.
It's not my favorite fight, but I love that it's in here, and I think the reason why is the music, like the music that's playing in the background, because Valentine's got his hand on the desk, so obviously there's a massive sort of like disco rave thing going on. It works, and it's to me it's just fun because it's also again intercut with like everything that's happening around the world as well. So you've got shots of like, Rio, you've got shots of that stadium as well. You got shots of London just going absolutely fucking apeshit. But what they have going on, the physicality with Gazelle, dude, she's doing that like kind of like it looks like breakdancing, and she's like spinning her legs everywhere, dude. It just looks
that part I dig. I did like that.
Yeah, it looks fucking sick. There is no way that Eggsy survives her, by the way. Like, there's just no fucking way.
Oh no.
You would need to be doing some Matrix maneuvers to be dodging that shit. But again, yeah, I love the shoe knife, dude. By the way, the way she moves too, like when she like jumps and bounces off things as well, she has like 800 broken bones. Like a human body is not designed to move like that, but I'll allow it because of the movie that it is. So
at least she won't break anything in her feet.
Right. He's savage. But you know what else I love too, dude? If you like, as they're fighting, if you look around, you will just see like headless bodies everywhere. It's just fucking gold. Like, and like, especially go.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, especially like, when he eventually kills her and he walks, like, he's detaching a leg and shit. In the background, you can just see like headless bodies like strewn across the ground.
Well, yeah, and it's great whenever he first, turns like the countdown on and all the sparks start flying everywhere and just the music like picking up. I was like, okay, that's fucking great. I like the starting and the stopping of the. Yeah, it's great. I do like that part of it because it does kind of break. You don't usually have a lot of humor in that final climactic battle, so I thought that was neat. I did enjoy that.
It's gold. I love it, dude. I love this whole movie. Like, I will. Again, entertaining from start to finish. To me, not a boring fucking moment, but I love fucking Eggsy just taking one of Gazelle's leg and just skewering fucking Valentine with it, dude. And if that's not enough because he can't handle blood, he just throws up. Falls out the back of the window, dude. What do you think about this?
Oh, and that puke is like, that's puke. Now that's what puke looks like.
Disgusting.
Oh, that's what got me, honestly. I was like, oh man, that looks so authentic. Like, I want to see the guy that they hire in who's like the puke expert, who like knows exactly. He's like, what's the secret to like your perfect mix for puke? He's like, it's like KFC original recipe or the Dr. Pepper formula. There's only about 13 people in the world that know it, and if I told you, I'd have to kill you. like I could see him like following him around the store. All right, he's got chicken broth, chopped pineapple, tomato soup, like just him mixing stuff. Oh, God damn it, he's making a stew, a delicious stew. He's not even making fake vomit.
Like a total fucking trade secret.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But anyway, so, yeah, he goes up, says the final lines to Valentine. Valentine's like, you're gonna make some pun, are you? Eggsy says, well, it's just like you told Harry. This ain't that kind of movie. Perfect. And he conks out. I love it.
This ain't that kind of movie, bruv.
This ain't that kind of movie, bruv. What the fuck is a governor?
I do love. I guess that means you're the tits, you know.
I don't know, because like earlier, there's like a reference to like Dean, like the Eggsy's mother's boyfriend, and they call him governor.
I don't know. Maybe it just like you're the. Yeah, that is odd. I wonder.
Yeah, British listeners, please let us know. Because we have no fucking idea.
Get back to us.
Anyway, we close the movie out with some anal sex, which is great.
Yeah, dude, that shot of that peach of an ass is like, it kind of startled me at first. Like, I was like, oh, wow, they're really zooming down. Oh, man, that's like the top, you start seeing less and less, and you're like, oh, fuck. And then at the bottom, I just expected to see Egerton's dick, and I was like, oh, God. Like, just, it just keeps escalating.
It is a great looking ass. Like, she squats.
Yeah, she's a good looking. She's a fine looking woman.
Yeah. And obviously his glasses are still turned on, and fucking Merlin's just like, oh, time to turn this off. Can you imagine if he didn't close the thing? He's just like, oh, I want to keep watching.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, he just kind of looks around and he's like, huh.
That's a big dick.
They don't call him Rocket Man for nothing.
All right, yeah. Well, if they called him Rocket Man, it'd be gay. So. Anyway. All right, man. That's fucking Kingsman by Matthew Vaughn. All right. Shall we get to our one comment?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
All right, man. Let me find this shit. Quite a while back. Oh, fucking Rutger Hauer died. How shit is that?
I know, man. That sucks.
It sucks. And dude, the amount of times I saw tears in the rain over that day, I was just like, I'm kind of over this.
Oh, dude, like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's going to be known for Blade Runner before anything, but like The Hitcher, he's in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he's in a good movie with Sylvester Stallone called like Nighthawks from like the late 70s, and I mean, fuck, he's in Batman Begins, he's in Sin City, he's in so much shit, Right. But R.I.P. All
right, I found the comment from Nathan Burkhart. Ready?
Do it.
I really wanted to like this movie, but they just kept slapping me in the face with stupid crap and inexplicable weirdness. Just when I started to get into it, Samuel L. Jackson breaks out possibly the worst fake lisp I've ever heard, along with the worst overacting in his entire career. I know Taron Egerton is a good actor, but I think playing opposite Colin Firth made him look like a complete rookie, and Firth seems like a parent helping out his son's fifth grade school play. That said, the action was tight and very well choreographed and filmed, especially Firth's church sequence. Once he was out of the film, it was almost like Egerton could relax and act like a proper action star for the final showdown. But suddenly, they slammed on the brakes with the anal reference completely out of nowhere. Someone let their dirty 16-year-old son write those lines. It was so completely out of the blue that it actually took away from the final fight sequence. No, I don't know, Nathan.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of jarring, but like,
I think that's the point. Right?
I mean, but at the same time, it's like I could see somebody have a problem with that, but like, oh, he's exploiting her. It's like, well, I mean, to be completely honest, she's been pent up in this thing for a couple of days, and here's this unbelievably handsome, suave British gentleman who just saved the world. It's like, fuck it, I'd probably spread the cheeks for him as well.
Yeah. And look, I think regarding Samuel L. Jackson, I'm not gonna fucking destroy your comment, Nathan. Like, don't worry. But Samuel L. Jackson's fake lisp, I think it's cheesy on purpose. Like, I know, like this is Samuel L. Jackson we're talking about here, dude. And this is the kind of movie that this is. Like, this is not supposed to be a full-on serious Jason Bourne spy film, international spy film. I think Samuel L. Jackson used that fake lisp and amped it up to Mike Tyson levels where it's supposed to be kind of like funny.
Right. He seems like he's almost childlike.
Right. Exactly. And look, Taron Egerton being a complete rookie, I think it's because he was a rookie at this time. At this point,
I still think he did a fine job. I didn't have a problem with anything Egerton did.
Yeah. Well, in other words, Nathan, you're wrong. So thank you for commenting.
Yeah.
But no, Colin, give me your final thoughts on Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Well, I enjoyed this movie. Probably won't really feel the need to watch it ever again, to be completely honest. It's not a bad movie. It's just not really my cup of tea. Not mad I watched it. Wouldn't be hurt if this were like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and just wipe that shit from my memory. It wouldn't bother me either way. It's fun though, and it's a practice of trying to get out and watch more older movies, or I'm sorry, newer movies, because I have the reputation that I totally earned of just watching nothing but like older stuff. And sometimes you get in a rut and you do that forever. So it's nice to watch something like this and kind of see what all the hoopla is about and kind of get off of that, like, kind of get away from that, like, get off my lawn kind of
pretty much
like old man. Yeah, like that old man kind of like, have you guys ever seen fucking Nosferatu? Like, that's, man, you want to talk about vampire movies. Speaking of which, next week my pick's probably going to be from like 1981. So there you go. But no, it was a fun watch. It's a fuck you. It's got some problems with it. You know, if you're looking for something that's not maybe has a little bit more depth to it, which I was kind of under the impression of. I don't know why. I think that's what kind of had been hyped up for me. I didn't know it was just going to be like a straight action. I thought there was going to be like a pretty cool plot with some dope ass action sprinkled through it. But either way, it's still fun. I'd say probably like a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10, somewhere in there. It's not my favorite movie in the world.
That's a lot higher than I thought you would take it.
No, I mean, again, it's a matter of taste. It's not a matter of like the actual like professionalism of it. You know, like the editing is so good, aspects. The soundtrack is good. Yeah, exactly. I can't sit there and harp on those people. Those guys did a fantastic job, and they're very talented. But it's just not really my cup of tea.
Well, guys, this has been the last episode of Midnight Double Feature. Thank you so much for joining us. No, I completely I understand where you're getting where your criticism is, because I know what kind of movies that you gravitate towards, and like as I was watching it for the podcast this time around, I was like, I actually don't know if Colin's gonna like this. This is an outstanding movie to me, man. Like, I think this is just such a great palate cleanser. Like, I am always on board for movies like fucking Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, Prisoners, Whiplash, There Will Be Blood, like fucking character studies and movies about thematic elements that you can just talk about for days and days, right? Like things about situations that you can interpret in different ways, and amazingly well-directed fucking emotional sequences and shit. But sometimes you just need a palate cleanser. Sometimes you just need a movie like this that comes along and you watch, like, turning your brain off, and you can just have a great fucking time with it. And in my opinion, man, I think Kingsman, in terms of, if you put it in that category, I think Kingsman is probably like right at the top of those kinds of movies, like that kind of list. Because like once you get past Kingsman, then you start getting into Michael Bay kind of stuff, and you start getting into the Fast and Furious of it all, and shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like in that category, but it's a bit higher than that. So I think this is an outstanding movie. I think technically it's so fucking well done, dude. It's just such a treat to watch this every time I watch it, dude. Like I think I've seen it at least once a year since it came out. On Blu-ray, I own it. I love it. It's fantastic. My dad loves it too. And honestly, like it's just from start to finish, just a great time. Like it keeps throwing new elements at you. It keeps throwing fucking amazing visuals, and great snappy dialogue that you're just here for. And look, the sequels suck. So yeah, sorry, the sequel does suck, not the sequels. I haven't seen the prequel, obviously. Yeah, man, really, really excited to have covered this. I think this movie does spy movies a lot better than a lot of current spy movies do it, if I had to say that. Like, especially Spectre. I mean, like, you know, if I do have to bring James Bond into it, then Spectre is the one that I keep pulling out, and I'm just like, this is Sam Mendes. This was a mistake. Like, you kind of like fucked this movie up, and Spectre needed to be a bit more like Kingsman. I'm not saying, definitely nowhere near close to the level of Kingsman's silliness, but that movie needed a bit more of this. Colin Firth, dude, I can watch that dude play Harry Hart all fucking day. Definitely one of my favorite fucking spies. I loved it all. Matthew Vaughn, really, really keen to see what else he's got under his sleeve. I mean, Kick-Ass, X-Men First Class, and this. I mean, that trilogy of films, like, goddamn, like the guy can direct, you know? But yeah, really glad to have covered this. I would give this a solid fucking 9, dude.
Damn.
Love this fucking film. But anyway, man, that's Kingsman, The Secret Service. Colin, get us the fuck out of here.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for staying till the end. Thanks for listening, checking us out, staying up late. If you guys want to get a hold of us on any of our social media, you can find us on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. We also have a group attached to that called the After Party. Everybody's invited. Come post funny shit and talk to other people that are kind of getting involved with the show. It's been growing, and we're always very excited about that. You can go and find us on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. You can also email us, midnightdoublefuture@gmail.com. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Please stop by, rate and review us on iTunes if you can. Give us those 5 stars. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, thanks for listening, guys. Take it easy.